Well, happy Friday, everyone. You know what that means. Another live lawn care Q&A. My name is Ron Henry, and I am here to help answer your lawn care questions. If this is the first time you are joining us, gracing us with your presence, welcome. Super happy to have you here. The way this works is really simple. On your screen, you're going to see a chat box. In that chat box, you can enter your question, concern, comment of the day, and I work through them in the order that they come in. Sometimes I have the answer, sometimes I do not, but either way, we have an awesome time talking about lawn care. Guys, fun times today. I'll show you guys a really cool video that happened earlier today from a, we'll say a passerby, someone that was stopping by to deliver something. Again, I had to update the streaming software, so anyone in the chat, if my lips are out of sync, let me know and we'll see if I can fix it, but I think we should be good to go. And yeah, so guys, here's the thing, man. We are well into September. We are entering the third week of September. The lawn is, temperatures are starting to cool down. Lawn is starting to grow slower. As a matter of fact, I mowed the lawn this afternoon, mowed the entire lawn, and didn't even fill up one grass catcher, mowing the entire thing. So it shows you, one, that Primo is doing what it do, but then also that, given the temperatures that they've been falling off, the lawn has definitely slowed down how quickly it's growing. So if you've not gotten your pre-emergent down, you might want to get on that. All right, so let's see what we have in the live stream here this evening. We got VMH kicking it off. He says, hey, Ron, happy Friday. Had a mole messing up my front lawn in broad daylight, just like yours. Thanks for the video with Alex. I did the same. It was a success. Thank you. Yeah, man, it was good, man. It was here's the thing. I did not like what the mole did to the lawn, but it was, when life throws you lemons, you make lemonade, and having Alex there to be the muscle to take care of him was definitely helpful. So yeah, I'm glad that you got it out of your lawn, and that, if anything, the video was at least entertaining. How about that? So guys, something that we're going to do tonight. So you guys know that James Smith has been, you guys have been on me about the lemonade and which one, between the Chick-fil-A types, the straight straight lemonade, which is my personal favorite, or this blend of like diet lemonade and the regular. So I've already tried it. I'll give you my thoughts on it later on in the show. I tried it after karate, but I thought, you know what? Maybe it wasn't a fair shot because I was tired, I was hot, sweaty. So tonight, I'm gonna give it another try. So tonight we got two contenders. We got the limonade, like labeled Y, just Y, and then finally next up we got Old Faithful. So we're gonna try both of them. I got small ones here. I'm gonna do a taste test live. Again, this time without craving the one that I really enjoy, and you guys can see my thoughts on the matter. I don't think it's gonna really change, but at least this way I'm giving it a fair shake. All right, so guys, we're coming to you as always from YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Those of you that are joining on Instagram, feel free to be part of the conversation as well. I know you guys can't see a lot of what the comments that come on the screen, but if you have any questions, comments, something you want to say, feel free to be part of the convo because yeah, we're out here to have a good time and talk about lawns, right? Cool. Next up, we have Stephen Thompson. He says, just shot you an email with the name in the subject line, ready for the stream to start. Yeah, Stephen, if you're here, if you don't mind, I've got your question, but versus me just reading it over, reading it out and not having it on there, if you don't mind, if you wouldn't mind asking it again, I'd appreciate it. That way I have it up on the screen. You know what? I mean, I guess I'm making things harder than they need to be. I can just do that. So here we go. So Stephen Thompson asked a question. He says, hey, Ron, just had a chance to throw down some dithiopyr in the back of the property. I got about ½ an inch of rain/irrigation down on it. Had to mow 2 days later, and I could still see quite a few of the granules sitting on the bare spots. I went ahead and mowed, but I did mulch, then watered in lightly. Think that'll be okay back there. I've got spectacle flow in the front and up closer. I've enclosed a picture of our back porch. Hope you have a great stream. So nothing to worry about, Stephen. You did the right thing. If you're concerned about losing some of the dithiopyr that you just put down, mulching is the way to go. There's no reason to bag it because you don't want to take the chance of sucking up some of that product you just put down. You watered in, you got irrigation. So I mean, you're doing all the right things. Over the next couple of days, I would imagine that it's going to work its way down in the soil profile as time passes. And yeah, you're doing it exactly right. There's nothing really I would change about it, and except for maybe next year, save the dithiopyr for the springtime and just use spectacle flow in both the front and back lawn, and then you're good to go, right? That would be the only adjustment I might make. So thanks for the email, sir. If you want to ask again in the live stream, we can put it up. No worries at all with that. But again, thank you for getting your question in ahead of time. We got the Backyard Dad, the Phantom, a couple other folks here in the live streams going on. Hopefully you guys are doing well. Thanks for coming out and hanging out a little bit. As the season begins to slow down, it's weather's getting cooler. Grass is not growing as much, but still having fun. We got Papa Moslow up next. He says, stop by to touch the like button on my way to the Bahamas. Have a great show and weekend. Yeah, I mean, thanks you so much, Papa Moslow. Enjoy the time in the Bahamas. Given the choice between hanging out with me talking about grass or going to the Bahamas, I gotta side with you on the Bahamas on that one. Appreciate you stopping by to support the show, though. Next up, we got Madam Whip. She says, she just says hello. All right. Next up, we have Platinum and Sears. It says it was about 1.5 weeks ago after pre-germination, by the way. Okay. I think the questions are probably out of order because I'm sure there's some context that goes along with that. So we'll revisit that one, Platinum Exteriors. All right. Next up is No Name. No Name says, hey, Ron and fellow lawn enthusiasts. Looking forward to some great lawn talk. Let's go. Get those likes up. Thank you, guys. Definitely get the likes up. It does help a lot. It does help the channel. This weekend's going to be a fun weekend. You got football. You got the Suzuka Grand Prix. Awesome times. And yeah, should be a lot of fun. Already got my mow in, so that's also taken care of. So, guys, you work on your lawn, right? You work on your lawn. You put the effort in. You do it for yourself. You do it for the love of the game, the love of the grind. But it is nice. It is nice when unsolicited, you get an admire, you get some feedback on how you're doing, right? So today is, September 22nd. It's new iPhone day. And the UPS guy, and he had someone else with him that was coming along as well. My normal UPS guy was dropping off the phones, but he had someone else with him who doesn't normally come on his route. So, I got to show you. I'll let the words of the video do the talking. So let me see if I can make this work. I uploaded it. Let me see if I can show you guys really quick. So this is them, and hopefully you guys will get the audio. Upper part of the frame. She had to bend down to touch it. That's like the biggest compliment for a lawn nerd, right? That's like the best compliment. He's always... So, Everett, thanks so much for stopping by, man. Thank you for bringing the iPhone. Really appreciate it. And again, his, he had a ride along who'd never seen the lawn before, and she was taken aback. So, as a lawn person, as a lawn enthusiast, it doesn't get much better than that. So, I had to share it with you guys. I'm sure, so you guys have all been there. Some of you guys have sent me videos of similar things happening when like your delivery person comes by. But I wanted to share what happened today because it was a proud moment for the lawn. Even though it's not looking its absolute best, still wanted to share it with you guys so you can see some of it. All right, so we got a couple of super chats here. Actually, first up, we got Mr. Alex Lee in the house. Alex saying, let's go. What's going on, Alex? Thanks for coming to hang out, sir. Appreciate you as always. And then we got a couple of super chats. Let's get down here and handle those. We got James Smith.
Super chat received.
He says, James Smith, so right off the bat, did you try the 50-50 lemonade? I did, James. And since you're bringing this forward, we can do it now, but we'll do it again later on in the show. So I tried the 50-50 lemonade after karate. I didn't do it before. I tried it after karate, and I gotta tell you, it's the thing after I had a sip of it. The thing that came to mind was why? Like why? It's like almost like it's almost like diet ice cream. Not anyone eats diet ice cream. I'm not trying to like hate on you or anything, but like if you don't want to lose, if you're trying to like be conscious about your diet. The downside, like the lack of taste that you get from eating diet ice cream, isn't worth the flavor. So in my mind, why not eat like less ice cream and eat the real thing versus eating like an entire bowl full of like diet ice cream? And the 50-50 lemonade is kind of the same way. I mean, it's, if I had to rank it, you know what? Let's do it live. I've got them both here. So James, you see, I've got the 50-50, the limonade, labeled YOY. And then, you know what? I got Old Faithful. I got, she's never failed me. It's just the straight water, lemons, and sugar. And we'll just try it. And I've got just straight water here. So we'll do a palate cleanse in between. So there's nothing influencing it. And to start out, we'll go with the one that you suggested, right? We'll go with the contender, the limonade. So here we go. So here's the thing. It's not bad initially, but there it is. See, it's the aftertaste. It's the aftertaste once you're done is what causes a deduction. One more time. Let me just. Yeah, I mean it's the aftertaste for me. It's not bad. And we got Old Faithful. We can palate cleanse. Be fair. All right, so with Old Faithful now, unadulterated. Oh, whoo! Oh, I will tell you, there is a benefit to this because you don't realize how good the pure stuff is until you have something to compare it against. Now, to be fair, if I were ranking them, like if I in my my ranking system, I would say that the OG, Old Faithful, is by far the best. Second, I would put Milo's. So I put Milo's lemonade after Chick-fil-A lemonade, after like the original, like the pure lemonade. And then after that, you know what, believe it or not, I would actually take this. I'd take your blend, James. So this after Milo's, because this is still an order of magnitude above, like, say, like Publix lemonade or Walmart lemonade. Like this still has love in it. You can taste the love. It's just not, just why? It's almost like Blue Muta. Like you can do it, but why do it? Like it's just, you're just overcomplicating things. You know what I mean? So that's how it is. We'll drink it some more throughout the show tonight. But I mean, those are my thoughts. You may disagree, but I'm gonna say I'm gonna stick with the extra calories from the original recipe. That's for me. Not for everyone, but that's for me. All right, so thank you so much for the super chat, sir. I really appreciate it. Next up, we got LG with a super chat.
Super chat received.
He's a super chat to see the lemonade comparison now. I need to pour a little liquor in both those cups. One more thing. Lebanon fertilizer made my lawn go so whoa. Well, I'm glad to hear that, LG. Thank you for the feedback. Glad to hear that the golf course lawn fertilizer is the one stuff we carry from Lebanon is making your lawn look incredible. So really do appreciate all of the love and support and the feedback. And you just got to see me do it live. I tried it. Again, it's not bad. It's not, again, it's not like I'm mad at it, but it's just like why? All right, so LG, so for your super chat, I believe you are the show sponsor. So we'll get you up here right now. Your name in lights for whatever that means to you. So L to the G and boom. There you go. Thank you so much, sir. Again, appreciate you. Let's move on to the other questions. I know a lot of you guys are probably wondering, why is he drinking lemonade on the show? Why are we not talking about lawn care? We're going to get to it, guys. We're going to get to it. But I mean, this is something that's been going on for a couple of weeks now, and I could have just told you my thoughts, but it's better to do it live, and I'll try it again. Maybe, as more time goes by, I might change my mind. Don't think so, but we'll see. All right, next up, we got Doug Mason. He says, happy Friday, Ron and everyone. Happy Friday, Doug. Thanks for coming to hang out. Hopefully you are doing well. Appreciate all the love and support. And then next up is Platinum Exterior saying, show some love, press them hearts. Yep, guys, definitely hit the like button. It does help out a lot. Jonathan Gilbert's, or Billy Gilbert's up next. He says, happy Friday, Ron and all lawn lovers. All right, so we have a question now. One from Mr. Jonathan Daza. He says, hey, Ron, I would like to do a split application on my turf type tall fescue. When should I apply each application? Split application of what exactly, Jonathan? If you're talking about doing a split application of like fertilizer, like you're doing a spoon feeding program, what I would say is do your granular on the first of the month. Like say you're going to start in October, you do your granular on the first of the month in October, do your liquid on the same day. And then 2 weeks later, 15 days later, the middle of the month, you will spray only liquids again. So when I say liquids, what am I talking about? Like what's in the liquid part of the spoon feeding program? So if we go to the golf course lawn store, you can go with Humic Max. That's a great choice for a fertilizer for cool season lawn this time of year, or the Stress, either one of those. But then when it comes to the liquid portion of it, let me move this up. When it comes to the liquid portion of it, you would do Primo Max if you want to do a growth regulator, and then I would do the 901C carbon kit. So depending on the size of your lawn, 5,000 square foot or 10,000 square foot carbon kit, that with some Primo Max on the 1st and the 15th, along with your granular, is going to get you in a great place. That is how I would go about it. It's what I do on my lawn. So hope that helps. If you're talking about something else, just feel free to just chime in again and say, hey, this is what I was actually referring to, and I'll revisit it. But yeah, for spoon feeding, I like the 1st and the 15th for the liquids, and then the granular really only once per month. On that topic, so when is today? Today's Friday. Wednesday afternoon, I did my what I think is going to be my last application of Primo. Put down Primo, sprayed the carbon kit, the concoction I was just telling you about, and the lawn has really slowed down. Again, I mowed this afternoon and hardly anything came off it. Again, I mowed the entire front and back lawn. You figure that is 11,000, a little over 11,000 square feet, and not even one grass catcher got full. So hardly anything came off the lawn from from an entire mow. So a couple of things. One, Primo is obviously works, and then also the reduction in temperatures we've been seeing here over the past few weeks have really caused the lawn to slow down. Which kind of brings us to the talking point I want to bring out with you guys tonight, which is the importance of your pre-emergent. So some of you guys that were in Georgia were saying, hey, can I wait till the middle of the month? The middle of the month has come and gone. The temperatures are definitely falling into the window where you want to get your pre-emergent down. Again, you know how I feel. A little bit early is always better than a little bit late when it comes to pre-emergent. So if you're in Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, if you're in this part of the country, the Southeast United States, definitely get your Primo down. You're well within the window for doing that. And it's just it's an easy way to keep POA and weeds and stuff that's just more difficult and frankly more expensive to control out of your lawn. So just something to consider this time of year. So as far as what I'm doing, for any of you guys that are new that have not been following the live streams over the last few weeks, is the pre-emergent that I am going out with is, or I went out with already, is Spectacle Flow. So I'm doing a split application of this. I did one in the beginning of September, and then I'm gonna do another one in the end of November, early December. The rate that I use is like 0.10 ounces of Spectacle with a gallon of water over 1,000 square feet. Something to keep in mind that this is for warm season grass only. Warm season grass only. Do not spray this on your cool season lawn. It's for warm season grass only. But options that are good for both, cool season and warm season that are kind of, grass type agnostic would be your prodiamine, your dithiopyr in both granular or and liquid form. Either of these would work well as far as, reducing the amount of weed pressure you're going to see in your lawn over the fall and also as you move into the springtime. So I beg and plead with you guys to please, 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 with a non-diet lemonade on top to get your pre-emergent down, because it really will make a difference in how much headaches you have as far as controlling weeds as time progresses. So yeah. All right, so let's see if we have any questions here. We have a question here from Instagram. We got one from the Backyard Dad. Thanks for coming to hang out. He asked a question. He says, how can I go about finding out what type of Bermuda grass I have in my lawn? It's definitely not common Bermuda. So here's the thing, the Backyard Dad. More than likely, if your home was built in the last 15, 20 years and you're like in a subdivision, the sod they likely installed is Tifway 419, some blend of Tifway. You could, if you have an extension office nearby you, you could take pictures of it and send it to them. You might be able to send a sample in and ask them their thoughts on it. But more than likely, again, unless you paid extra to have something else installed, it's more than likely going to be Tifway. Like even the construction is happening in my neighborhood, the lawns that are going in, all the grass is always Tifway 419. So if I had to bet, I would say that's likely what you have. And yeah. So I mean, I personally wouldn't put all the extra time in trying to figure out exactly what cultivar, because more than likely it's Tifway 419. So yeah, I appreciate the question. If you have any other talking points or questions, feel free to drop them in the chat and we will get it done. Absolutely. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. All right, next up is LG. LG's in the house. He says, hey, Aaron, JG and I are tuned in with our liquor, Twizzlers, and popcorn. So liquor, Twizzlers, and popcorn. Okay. I've never tried that blend. Do the Twizzlers mess with the taste of whatever your libation happens to be, or is it strong enough that it overpowers the Twizzlers and the popcorn? You have to let me know, LG. But yeah, sounds like you guys are all set. I appreciate you guys hanging out as always on a Friday night with me. Appreciate all the love and support. All right, next up is Adam Carter. He says, I bought Prodiamine 65, the water dispersible granule, pre-emergent, the 5 ounce, and I put half of a split treatment. When should I put down the other half of the split treatment? Great question, Adam. So if you did the first part of your Prodiamine app for your fall pre-emergent now, you could do another one in late October, early November. So if you, the application rate for Bermuda grass is 0.80 ounces per 1,000 square feet. That's the annual limit. So you said you did half of a split treatment. So did you do 0.20 now and you can do another 0.20, I guess, in October, November? That would be absolutely fine. And it leaves you a little something to be able to still spray Prodiamine in the springtime if you want to do that. So yeah, you sprayed now and you spray again in October, November. That is how I would do split applications with Prodiamine now. But again, given that you have warm season grass, I believe, Adam, from talking to you by email and corresponding, something you might want to consider is while you just did straight Prodiamine now, for your second application, consider adding some Princeps, some Simazine, and some Image to the tank. So that way you're getting, you're using 2 pre-emergents and you're also getting some post-emergent control in case some POA has already started germinating. So something to consider. You don't have to do that, but I think you're going to get a better result versus using just Prodiamine. Because just Prodiamine by itself, it works okay, but it's not great against POA annual. It's not great for controlling POA, at least not to the extent that most people want. Like most people put down pre-emergent and they expect their lawns to be 100% weed-free. That's not realistic for them. And in most cases, you might have some breakthrough here and there. But certainly against POA, Prodiamine by itself, I have not had good results with it. Just using it in a vacuum, mixed with some post-emergent, again some Image and Princep, that will do a lot for you to get to get better control, and will carry you into the springtime, say February-ish, March, whenever you do your spring pre-emergent. So something to keep in mind. Like that combination of prodiamine, simazine, and Princept is actually a product called Coastal. They used to offer it in like a 64-ounce bottle, but they stopped doing that. At least last I checked, they stopped doing it, and which makes it less convenient for people versus that wanted to do that versus buying like a 2.5-gallon jug. So you make it yourself: simazine, amazoquin, and prodiamine, and it's a poor man's Coastal, and then it's a good, or actually it's more of a poor man's spectacle flow as far as like the kind of control you get against POA. And it's something I would consider doing for your next app, again, late November, early December. So yeah. Thanks so much for that. I really do appreciate the question. We have another super chat, another one from Mr. LG. He is going crazy tonight.
Super chat received.
He says, we use the Twizzlers as straws for the libation. Okay, so you're doing some kind of a mixed drink. So I'm guessing it's some kind of a fruity drink. You're not doing bourbon or anything that's like, that you would not put a Twizzler in, I would hope. You're doing some kind of mixed drink, and it's kind of like, it gets soaked, and then you get to nibble off of it, and also keeps your drink stirred. I get it. That's new. I've never tried that. Never tried that, LG. But you know what? There's always a chance. I mean, before I'd never tried the 50-50, half diet, half regular, or half old fashioned, half pure stuff. But it's not terrible. But it's just why, right? All right. Next up is Jared George. I'm getting better at it, Jared. He says, if I wanted to show some photos of my lawn, how would I get that to you? Only my third week. I'm here. I'm still in DUB. By the way, I promise I'm not stealing people's grass. Just want to order plugs online. Yes, if you want to send me pictures of your lawn, my email address you can send them to is ron@golfcourselawn.com. That is my email. Feel free to send them there. And if the thing I would ask, if you can, Jared, I mean, I'm not sure if it's still daylight where you are, but have them take the pictures in landscape. So if you have your phone, hold it like this instead of this. This is kind of a pain because it doesn't get on the screen well. Hold it in landscape, and whenever you take the pictures, that way it's easier for me to get them on the screen if you don't mind. So yeah. By all means, feel free to email them over. Send me like a couple, but don't send like 17. Send like 2, 3. Send the ones you're most proud of, and we'll get them on the show. I'll do my best. Next up is Bermuda Guy DIY. He says, Ron, my man, happy Friday to you, sir. I just sprayed my last liquid app today, and I'm calling it done for a year. I get it, man. It's the lawn is definitely slowing down as far as how quickly it's growing. Again, I did Primo on the carbon kit Wednesday, and I might do another carbon kit app in October whenever I do my last granular, which is going to be the Stress 12024. So that, I think I'll likely shut it down after that, unless we get like a warm snap here where Georgia weather does what it does, and we end up still being like in the 70s in December. Then I might spray again. But for the most part, here in the middle of October, I'm thinking I'm just gonna let it do what it does. Just let it shut down and continue mowing it and enjoying it, and call it a season, call it a year, right? Next up is C. Pims. He says, I was thinking you would do a live taste test just for us. Yeah, man, I did. Yes, I told you guys. I tried them both, and again, I'll do it again here. I mean, maybe as I talk more, maybe this will, the 50-50 will grow on me a little bit more. We'll see. We'll see. We shall see. But again, I'm being fair, guys. I did not go into this saying, you know what, I'm not going to like it. I'm just going to bash the 50-50, the half diet, the half regular. I'm giving it a good college try. I really am. And it's just, it's good. Like the first like 3 seconds are glorious. It's almost like drinking the regular. But then now the aftertaste, that's the problem. That's the problem. That's if someone can figure out how to solve aftertaste in synthetic sweeteners, then they'll do very well. But yeah, that's the issue with it for me. All right, next up is Jackie Bear. He says, have an excellent stream, sir. We gone. All right, Jackie, thanks so much for that. Appreciate you coming to hang out. And next up is Bermuda DIY guy. He's back. He says, still contemplating that Revolution mower, though. Thinking it may be a good 40th birthday present to myself. You know what? I think it would be an excellent 40th birthday present for yourself. If you want an accountability partner, I'm that guy for you. I'm telling you, if you want to buy a new reel mower for yourself for your 40th birthday, some guys buy Corvettes some people go out on shopping sprees. You're going to buy yourself a real mower. I think of the options, it's a very responsible choice. Granted, I might be considered a little bit biased. However, compared to the other options, buying like a Corvette or, going out and on a shopping spree of stuff that you probably won't ever use again, a real mower is something that would be a good investment. You're going to use it. It's going to make the lawn look better. It's going to bring you enjoyment. There's a lot to be said for that. So, the Revolution is a nice bit of kit. And if you decide to go that route, I think you'll be very happy with it. So yeah. You only turned 40 once, man. All right, next up is Sean Murphy. He says, happy Friday, Ron. Looking forward to another great Friday live streams. Much love from Florida. I appreciate that, Sean. Thank you so much. I'll do my best, man. I mean, it's going to get more, things are slowing down a little bit, so there's not going to be probably as many people and as many questions, but we're still going to have fun. We're still going to talk about whatever. We've got our taste test we can do here. I'm sure some pictures will come into the live stream at some point that I'll be able to show to you guys, and we'll just keep it rolling, keep it moving. And you being in Florida, like your season's not shutting down anytime soon at all, right? And then next up is Jonathan Daza. He's back. He says, split application of prodiamine. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. Okay, so Adam asked that question, Jonathan, but we'll revisit it. So Jonathan Daza has a question saying, if I'm going to do a split application of prodiamine, how would I go about doing that? So it depends on whether you intend to use it in the springtime or not, Jonathan. If you're planning to go to a different pre-emergent in the spring, say like dithiopyr, then you could use your entire annual allocation in the fall. You could take that 0.80 ounces of prodiamine. Actually, you know what? Before I say that, you said you have, what kind of grass do you have? I'm answering this as I have Bermuda. Okay, yeah. So you have a turf type tall fescue lawn. So I don't know off the top of my head what the annual limit is. I want to say it's 0.55. I think that's correct. So it's less than Bermuda for sure. I think it's like 0.55 for fescue and cool season grasses. But double check the label and before you do that. So take whatever the annual limit is for your particular grass type. If you're going to use the entire allocation now and do an application, you could do one now, and then you can do another one again December-ish timeframe before you get like your first frost. Before you're expecting that to happen, you can do your follow-up. The application rates for cool season grass for prodiamine are quite a bit lower. I want to say something like 0.18 0.19 is what people typically do when it comes to prodiamine applications. So you might do 0.2 now, and then another 0.2 in your second application. That way, you're still using the lion's share of your annual allocation, but then you're doing a high enough rate that you're going to get good control. So double check the label for your particular grass type. I believe that's going to be correct. 0.20 dry ounces over 1,000 square feet now, and then again, a week or two before you expect the lawn to check out, before you get your first frost. Anything you can do to try and extend the coverage of that prodiamine is going to be helpful, especially for you cool season folks, man, because unfortunately, I mean, cool season grasses, you guys definitely have it won when it comes to stripe action, and the color of cool season grass tends to be really rich, which, I mean, Bermuda looks good, but cool season grass looks incredibly vibrant when it's taken care of. But the one issue you guys have is you look at like a weed like Poanua, like the ability to control that with post-emergent herbicides. There just really aren't a lot of great options for residential lawns. So for you, having your pre-emergent game on point to do as much as you can to limit breakthrough with POA is going to be important. So doing a split app is a great plan. So again, double check the label rates. Bermuda, warm season grass, I know much better off the top of my head because that's what I deal with primarily. I believe you're going to be fine with that 0.2 dry ounces now, and then again before the lawn's about to check out. But again, double check the rates for your particular grass type. Great question. All right, next up is Colin Potter. He says, happy Friday, Ron. Any tips on live edge landscape beds? I don't have any on that one, Colin, because so here's the thing. I used to edge my landscape beds and some people do a great job with it, right? Where they use a stick edger to create a really crisp line to keep the mulch and the bed separated from the grass. because I don't like edging that much, and if I feel like if you don't do it consistently, what tends to happen is the grass, like in my case Bermuda, starts to creep in, and it just starts to lose the definition. So what I did a couple years ago is I just did pavers. So for all my beds, all the beds that I have, so the front ones and the ones that are along the back of the house, I got like these 6x6 inch pavers, or not, I didn't do it. I had a service do it. Come out and do 6x6 inch pavers to separate the mulch beds from the grass, and that way I can literally run my stick edger along both sides of it, and it always looks good, and it limits how quickly the Bermuda creeps into the beds. So that is what I did. For years I used to just use a stick edger and go around and try and make it look good, but because I wasn't doing it consistently, like I was saying, you'd have, let's say, like I can give you an example of it. Let's say that this side here is actually, we can do this as a perfect example. Let's say that this, where it's brown, is the mulch bed, because that looks like a mulch bed, and everything else here is your grass. Because I wasn't doing it consistently, what would happen is I could use the edger to define a nice line, but I would literally end up cutting, like defining a line, but there'd be grass on the other side of this that I have to then go and hand pull and get it out. It just became too much work, too much of a hassle. So I just went to pavers versus stick edging to keep a nice crisp line. And I like the way it looks. I mean, I think that it can be a nice way to break up between your lawn and your mulch beds. And if you do it right, it really shouldn't affect your mowing at all. Like I can literally mow right up to it with my real mower. There's no issues. If you got a rotary mower, same kind of thing. If you kind of sink it to where it's just above the surface above the surface of the ground, it does a great job. So something to consider. That is what I did. Again, I threw in the towel years ago and just had pavers put in. So there you go. All right, next up we have James Smith. He says, so right off the bat, you try the 50-50. Yeah, we already answered that, James. I tried it again. I try it again. And it's just, it's like, it's not bad. I mean, here's the thing. I would take it over like lemonade that is not made with love. Like you take, and again, I'm not bashing on like, Publix or like Walmart lemonade, but I mean, compared to like Chick-fil-A lemonade, which is like $11, $12 for a gallon of it, versus what you can find at like grocery stores for $3, $4. I mean, there's definitely something to be said for like the premium stuff, right? And I would still put your limonade. I still put this above the most store-bought lemonades. I feel that Milo's is better than this, but outside of Milo's, I would drink this over the other stuff. So that's something, right? You're working on me slowly, but I still like this better. This is. Ooh. It never gets old. Never gets old. All right, next up is Two Trilla. He says, a happy Friday, Ron and Stripe Action Gang. I put spectacle flow down at 0.10 ounces per 1,000 square feet rate. Is this considered the split app rate, or am I done for the year? It's considered on the lower end, Two Trilla. I would do another application. So I've not sprayed spectacle only one time at that rate. When I've sprayed it a single time and called it good, I used a rate of 0.20 ounces per 1,000 square feet. I got great results with that. There was no POA in the lawn. In the springtime when the lawn woke up, it was excellent. It was a thing of beauty. I've never tried 0.10 ounces just one time. So if it were me, if just erring on the side of caution, I would plan to do another application at the end of October, early November, and then you can call it good. Then you're good to go really until February, March, whenever you like to get your pre-emergent down. That will put you in a good spot. So hope that helps, sir. I would follow up with another app if it were me. And there's actually if you look on Bayer's website, I have like the PDF. There's a PDF that shows like the different ways of applying spectacle, particularly when you're trying to control Poanua. And the split app is they give a rate for one app, they give a rate for split, and the 0.10 by itself. I mean, it'd probably be okay, but I would do another one in late October, early November, just to be safe. Again, why not ensure that you get what you paid for? You know what I mean? By making sure you have enough of the active ingredient in the soil. So good stuff. Hope that helps, sir. It should take you long to spray anyway. So yeah, I would follow up again with another one. All right, next up, we have Shelby Amos. Shelby Amos is in the house. He says, What's up, fam? Ron, we are back in the high 90s for the next 2 weeks in Dallas, Fort Worth. Pray for us, man. It was 78 the other day. It felt so chilly. Bring on the 80s. Side note, the 26 Revolution pre-ordered. Nice. Congrats, man. You know what? I got to start giving you guys dap for that. Give you guys dap. Congrats on the new hardware. I think you're really going to like it when you get it. And here's the thing, Shelby. It is going to, you know, you're going to have times where the temperature bounces into the 90s, into the high 80s, but the overall trend will be down. It's going to be like, you know, peaks here and there, but overall it's going down and to the right instead of up and to the right. So yeah, no worries. But yeah, man, good congrats on getting the new mower. Just to let me know what you think of it when you finally do get it. Yeah, I mean, I got to use it. Alice got to use it. Hopefully you guys got to see the other video that I published. I think it's either last weekend or earlier this week, where, you know, Alex used it to do a high to cut reset on his lawn, and then he shared his thoughts on it. So you get, you know, it's not just me sharing what I think, but also someone else, you know, independent party, also giving his thoughts on the matter too. So you have like 2 independent parties that are not like, you know, employees of Real Rollers telling you what they think about the mower. And overall, man, it just checks all the boxes. It's really, I'm trying to think if there's anything that I would, what would I would want that it doesn't have. Interchangeable cartridge system. That'd be it. And that's coming, right? That's going to be, that takes more development. That's going to be in the future at some point. I don't know when, but it's going to be in the future at some point. But if I could, the only thing that I would love is, you know, interchangeable cartridge system. So yeah, but it's a great bit of kit. Comes with pretty much everything you need. That's the nice thing about it. It's like the Yard Mastery backpack sprayer of real mowers, of that class of real mowers. It comes with everything. You don't really need to buy anything else for it. Put gas in it, put oil in it, and go dominate the neighborhood. All right, next up, we have James Smith. So he's up next. Let's see what he has here. He says, one of two. Thinking about spring already, and I was wondering, when we do our spring lawn scalp, would doing a leveling / smoothing be something we could do? So, and then the second part of the question, or should they be separate activities? Bermuda, Tiff-Tuff Sod, Raleigh, North Carolina area. So great question, James. So the question is, you know, whenever you scalp your lawn, can you also level at the same time? So it depends. It depends on when you're planning on doing your scalp. I tend to do my scalping a bit early. I do like a pre-scalp in like early February, and I'll do another one if it needs it in March. That's still a little bit early for my taste to start leveling the lawn. If you want the lawn to recover faster, you really want to do your leveling work when the temperatures are, you know, in the 80s and trending warmer. So really that's more along the lines of late April, early May timeframe. The lawn is going to bounce back. It's going to recover a lot sooner. If you were to say scalp in March and do your leveling in March, that could be okay. It's just, it's going to take a lot longer for the lawn to grow through it. You know what I mean? So I'm not really a fan of doing that. So I would separate them, to answer your question. Long short of it is I would separate them. I would do your scalping, again, late February, early March, whatever you decide to do it, and then save your top dressing for like the late April, May timeframe, depending on temperature, right? Depending on temperature, of course, because really when it comes to top dressing, for best results, what I like to do is you want to aerate and then apply any fertilizer, biostimulants, whatever you want to put down, and then apply your top dressing. So it's a bit of a job in of itself. I don't know that I'd want to scalp and then do all that, you know, in the same weekend. That'd be quite a bit of work. So just something to keep in mind to consider. So no, I would not do them all at once. I'd break it up. I would wait till late April to get it done, because what'll happen is you're just gonna slow down how quickly the lawn greens up if you go out there and put a bunch of sand on it in like March timeframe. And then next up is kids. James Smith, he says, no, you get off my lawn, kids. You mean, for people walking on the lawn whenever they were the UPS guys? Nah, not at all. Nah. I mean, I like it. I enjoy it, man. I mean, think about it. It's as passionate as we are. It is grass. It is grass. Them walking on it's not going to hurt anything. You know what I mean? And the thing is, they admired it. Think about it. That's unsolicited. It's not like I was out there mowing the lawn and then I said, hey, what do you think about the lawn? You know, someone might be just tempted to say something nice, but someone unsolicited looked at it and said, man, this is nice. I don't know what this is, but this is really nice. You know, so you always like that. You always like to know that you're getting it right. You're doing the right thing. All right, so we got some other folks here on the gram. We got Zamora coming in. AZ Lawn Dad's going on. Hopefully you guys are doing well. And then next up is the backyard dad. He's a question. He says, thoughts on burning your lawn for the spring scalp. So he's asking, should you burn your lawn, or would I burn my lawn in the spring instead of scalping it? Not in my neighborhood, man. There are the lawns and the houses are too close. If you had your own property and that's separated, and you don't have to worry about neighbors, then it would be okay. But in a subdivision, I'm pretty sure it's against the HOA's guidelines to set fire to your lawn, and it's just not worth the risk. If it gets away and gets into someone else's lawn, it's just going to create a big mess. They're going to call the fire department. It's just not worth it. So I will not be doing that. I will not be setting my lawn on fire as a way to scalp it. So no, I'm not going to do that. I know of someone personally that's done that, and the lawn looked great. I mean, it came out, it bounced back from it. It looked absolutely great after he was done with it. But again, it's just something you got to be careful with, especially if you have neighbors that are nearby. I mean, think about it. I've got Alex to my right of me. I've got another neighbor to my left, and the lawns literally touch each other. So yes, I guess you could go out there with a garden hose and try and have it not get out of hand. But even if it doesn't, I can almost guarantee you someone in the neighborhood's calling the cops or calling the fire department. It's just gonna get the wrong kind of attention. How about that? Because think about it. I've got like a huge lawn. I've got like the back lawn is 8,500 square feet. That much on fire. Someone's calling. Someone is calling if that happens. So in my case, no, I'm not gonna go that route. I appreciate the question though. Appreciate the question, backyard dad, on burning your lawn. But yeah, no, not for me. Not for me. I will leave that for you guys to take care of. We got another one here. AZ Lawn Dad has a question. He says, I may have missed it, but are you overseeding? If so, what type of seed, and what's your favorite topper if you use any? So I'm not overseeding, AZ Lawn Dad. I chickened out. I was planning on doing it this year, but the more I thought about it, I don't want to have to deal with like weeds in the spring, and also have to do anything that might slow down how quickly my Bermuda greens up in the spring. So I chickened out. I cried uncle. I'm not overseeding my lawn. If I were going to do it, I would try one of the seeds from Barenberg. Like they have like a blend that is really well reviewed. That is what I would go with. So yeah, not overseeding the lawn at all. And you're saying 8,000 square feet is too much it's too much to burn, to set on fire. It's too much to keep control of. Like my hose literally isn't long enough to reach the extreme parts of the lawn, so I couldn't even do that safely. You know what I mean? Even if I want to do it, I couldn't do it safely. So all the more reasons why I'm not doing it. not setting my lawn on fire. All right, next up we have Harper's Knitter. She's up next. She says, happy Friday and congrats on your beautiful lawn. I appreciate it, Harper. Thanks for all the kind words. I know we've been emailing back and forth. And here's the thing, guys. So depending on where you are with your lawn, like, we've had some folks here that are brand new with getting in their lawn journey. They just moved to a new house, and some folks have had their lawn been neglected for several years, and they're trying to get it better. The thing to keep in mind is that it's a process. It takes time. Like if you guys follow me on Instagram, go to golf_course_lawn, golf course lawn. If you looked at my latest Instagram post, I think it's the last one. It's a video that shows what my lawn used to look like when first moving in versus how it looks now. And you would not even recognize it. Like it looked really bad. It looked a lot worse than, some of the lawns that you guys, send me pictures for. So just realize that it's a process. It's, it takes time, and from season to season, it's just going to get better and better. But for most people, what I found, I have yet to find anybody that, especially if they start at the beginning of the season, right? So right now it's a little bit late in the season to really get going with the renovation. But let's say you say 2024, that's my year. I'm committing to getting my lawn as good as I possibly can. If you start out the season with that mindset and you do all the things, so you get your pre-emergent down, you get a soil test done, you get your nutrient program on point, you do all the preventative stuff, your preventive fungicides, insecticides, and then you just mow the lawn like you love it. So again, once every 2 weeks, in really 90 days, you're gonna really be shocked at how awesome the lawn's gonna look. Like I've yet to see a lawn where someone did what I was just telling you guys about, and the lawn did not make a massive transformation. You know what I mean? So just realize that it takes time. It takes time to get a lawn, and every lawn has problem spots. My lawn has problem issues. There's some areas where the grass doesn't grow as well. And it's a little bit thinner because it doesn't get enough sunlight, and it's just part of it. It's just part of it, man. There's always something to be fixed, and that's what makes it fun. You know what I mean? If you could just get it to perfection and it's just stayed perfect, you'd get bored. right? So the fact that there's always a constant chase, there's always something to work on, always something to fix, is what makes lawn care, for me anyway, what makes it fun and makes it interesting. You get to play with different strategies to make things better. So next up is Jared. He is back. He says, I am seeing more brown in my Bermuda. I thought it might have been early dormancy, but upon inspection, it's just dead material under the green showing more. How do I dethatch Bermuda without destroying it? So great question, Jared. The way you dethatch Bermuda without destroying it is don't dethatch it. What I would say to do is to turf rake it instead. So by turf raking, there are, you can rent them. They're also called power rakes. If you set it up to where it is not getting into the soil, you want the turf rake, the power rake, just getting above the surface of the soil. I set mine up towards about 2 to 4 millimeters above the surface. That's going to bring a lot of the debris, like the thatch, the dead clippings, that stuff out. And just from doing that, you're going to get a boost in color just from doing that alone. Because a lot of, when you look at your lawn, you're seeing the green, but you're also seeing the brown in it as well. And by doing, by cleaning that stuff out, you're going to see a massive improvement. Dethatching is too aggressive, in my opinion, for most lawns, and it for Bermuda grass, Zoysia lawns, in a lot of cases, you're just doing more harm than good. Because for example, this is what I think about when I say a dethatcher. So look at that. It's like solid blades with hooks. That is going to absolutely rip and tear chunks out of your lawn. You really don't want to go with that versus something like this, which is a scarifier or turf rake or whatever whatever anyone else happens to call it. But the idea is, if you look at that, these are spring-loaded fingers, almost like little paper clips, right? Spring-loaded paper clips versus a solid blade. So this is going to be far more aggressive than this. This has give. It will bend. It will give as it's working through the canopy. Where this is not. Like, there's no give in that. So I would not do it. You run anything on your lawn that looks like this. I would make several passes with a tool like that's like a turf rake, right? So you can rent those. Again, make sure when you're setting it up that you don't go too aggressive. It's fine to make 2, 3, 4 passes. Just do it very light. And you'll see a big improvement in the stripes of your lawn, the color of your lawn. It's going to reduce issues with disease in your lawn. So, perfect example, this year, the only areas in my lawn that I've had any mushrooms have been on the vanity strip in the front, and it's because I don't turf rake it as much as I do the back lawn. I really like working on the back lawn. I don't really bring the Allen around to the front lawn as much, so it gets neglected a little bit more than the back. And lo and behold, the back lawn, no mushrooms all season long. The front lawn, where that doesn't get turf raked, that even though it gets mowed all the time, it gets mowed regularly, and the clippings are caught, just that debris that tends to fall on the lawn over time, because not all of it goes in the grass catcher, that is enough to build up a moisture layer, a spongy layer that makes it, that it's causing mushrooms to be able to take root and show up in the lawn. So outside of appearance, outside of color, because that's why we're primarily doing it, there are lots of other benefits. Like you're going to have less disease problems, and the appearance of the lawn is just going to be a lot better. You know what I mean? So I would highly recommend, you turf raking. Again, the key thing is go light. Don't be too aggressive with it, because you don't have to get a great result. On that topic, today, it's a little bit early in the season, but we released recently another blog post. I know we're just in the fall, just entering the fall. But one of the things we just came out with is a blog post on managing winter diseases, like your guide to keeping your lawn looking clean, looking good going into the winter, and then also setting yourself up for success in the spring. And it talks about the common lawn diseases, gray snow mold, pink snow mold. I make mention about spring dead spot in here, what causes them. One of the things that creates conditions for lawn diseases is, a lawn that has a lot of thatch in it, where a lot of moisture can stay in the lawn, where it doesn't dry out very quickly. So if you're interested in something that will help you, help you set your lawn, help set yourself up for success for next year, take a look at this. Obviously, at the end, I show some videos on lawn disease, and then also talk about, some prevention strategies, and then fungicides. So if you like granulars, doing a preventative fungicide app of Headway is a great idea. If you like liquids, doing a preventative fungicide app and using Pillar SC, also a great choice. So this is live on the store. This is our most recent blog post. Feel free to check that out. Again, it's a bit early, but I mean, starting next month, I'm going to start doing what's in that blog post. I'm going to be doing my first Pillar SC fungicide application in beginning of October, and I'll do another one in in November, because really the stuff that you do now is setting yourself up for the springtime to have a great lawn. You're going to be ahead of the curve. So just something to think about. That that blog post is live and it's on the store. And you know what? I'm going to make it the pinned comment, because why not? Because why not? Because I don't have a pinned comment right now, and you guys always, you know, so since I'm slacking here, I'll put that up there as the pinned comment, so you guys can easily access it. So great stuff. You know, if you have any other questions, Jared, please let me know. Again, really appreciate your all the love and support, and for asking awesome questions. I would highly discourage you from dethatching, running a dethatcher on your lawn. The scenario where I could see where a dethatcher makes sense to me, let's say I use like the idea of the lawn that's like 10 years old. So imagine a lawn that's been neglected for years and years and years. You're buying a house or a property that hasn't, you know, like the person either didn't care about it at all, and the grass was never ever mowed, or was mowed once a month. So just, you know, it was kind of a mess. In a situation like that, dethatching it one time, like just to kind of get ahead of the curve, get a lot of the stuff out, I could see a case for it in a situation like that. But most of you guys aren't there. Like I'd say 95% of you aren't there. You'd be better off with a little bit of or regular turf raking instead of going hard with a dethatcher. So I know it's fun, you know, to have big piles of debris and everything, but I mean, it's you're doing, especially for Bermuda, you're doing more harm than good by doing that. And that blog post on, you know, on ways of setting yourself up for success this winter, and then by extension the spring, is now the pinned comment. If any of you guys are watching this after the fact, I'll also have it as the pinned comment once the show is over. So good stuff. All right, next up is AFN 48786 from Dunwoody, Georgia. It says, hello from Dunwoody. Happy Friday. Appreciate you, man. Dunwoody in the house. Yay. Cool. I guess Dunwoody's technically perimeter, or right at the edge of the perimeter. So appreciate you coming to hang out. Thank you so much. And let's see if we have any other questions here on the gram. We do not, so we'll continue on YouTube. Falcon Pilot is up next. Falcon Pilot says, hey, Ron, I've missed the live stream for a few weeks, but I got caught up. I ordered some Lebanon Stress Blend and some prodiamine in water dispersible granule form, and got both down right before the rain. You know what? For getting it right, we're going to clap it up. It's going to happen. You said the sprinklers winterized also. Nice. Very, very cool. Yeah, man, so you did all the right things. So you got your winterizer fertilizer. The Stress Blend is a great choice down. You got your pre-emergent down. I'm a huge fan of that. And then you winterize your sprinkler system, which is also good stuff. Big reason, guys, is that this is like the third year. This is, you know, third year going into the fourth year doing this live stream, and there's a constant theme. Is like in the spring, I say, please get your pre-emergent down, and then people like wait to the last minute or don't do it at all. And in the fall, I also say, hey, it's like late August or September, please get your pre-emergent down. And it never fails that you know, most people do it, but then a lot don't. And then what's going to happen is November-ish, you're gonna start getting questions about, hey, I got all these weeds in my lawn, what do I do about it? And then next spring is when you're gonna see it's gonna be, I'll just have to call the live stream, like, you know, how do I kill this weed in my lawn? You know, episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, because for several weeks that's what it's gonna be for people that did not apply their pre-emergent. So good job on getting your fertilizer down, and good job on applying your pre-emergent and watering it in. Awesome. I like it. I like it a lot. All right, so we have a question here now from Mr. AZ Lawn Dad. He says, what are your thoughts on rotary mower power rake blades with the hard plastic tines? I'd have to see one, AZ Lawn Dad. I mean, if you're gonna go with you want something that has some give to it, like the ones that I'm showing. I'm not sure if you're watching the live stream on YouTube, but the stuff that I'm a fan of are, you know, the tines that are like spring loaded to where there's some give, you know what I mean? To where it's not like hacking at the canopy as much as it's kind of like combing it. You know what I mean? You know what it is? Or think of it like the difference between when you're using a comb in your hair or using a brush in your hair. Both of them can move your hair forward. You can part your hair, you can style your hair with a comb and a brush, but a comb you consider to be a bit more aggressive, right? Like if you get a comb in your scalp, that could hurt. A brush for the most part isn't going to do that. So I'm a fan of more so brushing, you know, using the turf rake to brush to gently remove material that way versus taking the more aggressive approach. If you're using something with hard plastic tines that doesn't have a lot of give, if that's all you got, again, I would be super certain that when you set it up that you do it a little bit higher. You know what I mean? Even if you have to make several passes where very little is coming out, I'd rather you do a couple of those than say, you know what, I'm just going to go for broke. I'm going to drop it down in the dirt and just, YOLO, let's go. And because you're going to do more damage, you're going to cause more stress and injury to the turf than you absolutely have to. So I would, the big thing is not to be too aggressive with it. So hope that helps. I've not seen the rotary mower power rake device that you're talking about, like with the hard plastic tines, but just something to consider. If you're using that, don't be too aggressive with it. That's a common theme when it comes to turf raking, verticutting, mowing in general. Don't be too aggressive. You know what I mean? Don't be too aggressive. That's good advice. Good advice for a lot of things in life. All right, next up is Higgy Pop. He says, "Happy Friday, everyone. I just dropped pre-emergent and a little fungus control. I like it. I dig it. Have a great show, Ron. Let's all hit the like button. It's free. Let's do that, guys. We got 100 folks in the live stream and only 69 likes. Surely we can do better than that. Surely we can do better than that. I mean, there's not as many lawn care topics this time of year other than please put down your pre-emergent. So I went out and I got we'll call it the James Smith. That's what we'll call this. So the James Smith, the half and half, the half diet, the YOY. We'll call it the YOY. And, the nectar of the gods, the old fashioned, the old favorite. There you go. Old Faithful, man, it's good. Here's the thing. If you don't like lemonade, I'm probably overselling this, but the outside of water, I drink more lemonade than anything else. Like I don't drink, I'm trying to think what else I drink outside of that. Yeah. So in it would be water, lemonade, and then occasionally, if I'm watching the Bulldogs play, I'll have a Dr. Pepper. I'll do that. But then that I kind of water down. Believe it or not, like if I drink a Dr. Pepper, I'll put like this much water in it and then put the rest with the soda because that I find to be too sweet. But yeah, so if you're a lemonade connoisseur, if you enjoy a good lemonade, you're not gonna go wrong with Chick-fil-A. I'm telling you, I've tried it. I've done the research as far as fast food lemonade. I have yet to find anyone that trumps it for me, for my palate. All right, next up is Jared. He's up next. He has a question. He says, a 3,000 powered reel mower isn't in my budget immediate future. One day, no worries with that. But beyond manual reel mowers, are there any decent 700 or less powered reels? Seems like it's a 50 to 200 manual and then boom, 2K. Yeah, so you can get reel mowers in the $700 price range, Jared. You're just going to get a pre-owned one. So True Cuts, McLean's, California Trimmers, you can find them in that price range. I might try and stretch you a little bit and try and get you closer to the $1,000 price range because you're going to get typically then a better unit. It's going to be, and it's going to have less wear and tear on it. And that's a way to save some money because really if a trimmer or True Cut or McLean that have been taken care of, they'd be just fine. It's still going to cut great. The most important thing is that it's sharp, that it's set up properly. It's going to cut just as good as a brand new reel mower if it's set up properly. You know what I mean? So that's a way for you to get into reel mowing, to step up from like a manual push reel mower without, breaking the bank, going out and buying, a $2,000 to $3,000 brand new reel mower. So that's something to consider. Something to consider with that, yeah. And it's going to be a huge difference. It's a huge difference. Like the difference that you saw. I'm not sure if you rotary mowed your lawn, but the difference between like rotary mowing your lawn and then push reel mowing, that is better. Like push reel mowing your lawn is going to produce a better looking lawn than just rotary mowing it, in my opinion. But then the difference between a push rotary mower to a powered rotary mower is even bigger. The jump is even bigger than, in my opinion, from rotary to push reel. Like it's an order of magnitude better as far as the appearance of the lawn. It's just so much more consistent. You know what I mean? So $700 to $1,000 price range, in that somewhere in that ballpark, you should be able to find something. And that I think will that's where I would go. And then eventually you can look into into a newer unit if you want. But yeah, you don't have to spend $3,000 to get into powered reel mowing. You just get a pre-owned unit. You know what I mean? So just something to consider with that. All right, next we have, you're very well welcome, AZ Lawn Dad. Thank you for the question. Next up, we got Charles Westmoreland. What say you, Charles? He says, hello, Ron and crew. Happy Friday. Getting the debris out of the backyard today before the storm moves in later tonight. I'm not sure where you are, Charles. I don't think, are we ever in the forecast in Georgia? I don't know, but yeah, it's a good idea. If you have stuff in the backyard. I mean, if you have leaves, because we're entering fall, getting a lot of that stuff out is a good idea. On the topic of like preventing disease in your lawn, for those of you guys that have a lot of trees, that's one of the best things you can do as well too. Like not letting a lot of that the tree the stuff that falls out of the trees, like your leaves, the just little twigs. Don't let that stuff sit on your lawn for extended periods of time. It's going to happen, but then you want to clean it up and get it off, because that will cause problems down the road if you just allow it to sit on the lawn for extended periods of time. James Smith, he says, the winds from Ophelia started up today in Raleigh. Watch the contractor trying to spray. Funny, watch him trying to spray with the wind. So he was out there spraying. I guess, was he painting or was he spraying the lawn? Either way, yeah. I mean, any kind of wind, really above 10 miles an hour, anything more than like a light breeze, you really don't want to be out spraying your lawn, because the stuff just start going everywhere. You know what I mean? So I hear you. Well, hopefully all goes well. Hopefully you guys get some free rainfall, but not so much that it causes damage, James. Leo Garcia is up next. He says, hello, Ron. On pre-emergent application, is it better liquid or granular? Excellent question, Leo. Both can work well. Both can work well. The most important thing is that you apply it at the right time frame. So in the fall, that's before soil temps get in the high 60s. So once your average soil temperatures are in the 70s, trending cooler, that's when I want to get your pre-emergent down, whether it be granular or liquid. The benefit to liquid is that as far as getting it into the soil, it's going to happen a bit faster, because you don't have a granule that needs to decompose, to break down, and then get into the soil profile. So from a standpoint of which is going to begin working faster, a liquid pre-emergent application is going to work faster than a granular pre-emergent application. But if you time either one of them properly, if you do your granular, you're still going to get a good result with it. It's not like granular pre-emergent doesn't work. It works just fine. I would just get it out, a week or so sooner than I might do a liquid, because it takes more time to get into the soil. Another benefit of liquids is that as far as being able to easily adjust application rates, liquids, it's easier to do that versus granular. So that's it's another benefit. What else? If you're applying any other products along with it, so let's say you're applying pre-emergent and you're also saying, you know what, I haven't done an insecticide this fall. I'm trying to keep some armyworms out of my lawn. I want to do a fall insecticide application. Then you can easily mix something like a Celiprin along with your liquid pre-emergent and do it all at once. So the benefit of liquids, I'd say, is this. One, they get in the soil profile faster. You have easier control over application rates, and you also have more flexibility as far as what else you apply with it. So if you want to apply an insecticide, you could do that. If you're applying any kind of a soil amendment that needs to be watered in, you can also do that. So liquids allow you just to get more flexibility. Is probably the biggest benefit that liquids have over granular. The downside to liquids is that, you have to have a more equipment. Like you need to have a backpack sprayer or a handheld sprayer. You need to make sure it's properly calibrated. You need to be comfortable doing like some basic math as far as figuring out your application rates and that kind of thing. It's not difficult. It's not hard, but it's just, if I had to say between liquid and granular, which is easier, granular, because literally if you got like a Earthway spreader or a Scott spreader, you look on the bag and it tells you what to set it to, and you measure out how much product you should need for your lawn. You add that to the hopper, you walk around your lawn at that rate, and you're good. Water it and you're done, right? Whereas liquids, for example, the proper spray tip starts to matter. So if you're doing like a pre-emergent, you're going to want to use a spray tip like this, like this floodjet tip that produces a larger droplet size. And then again, just other stuff to have to measure or calculate. Like for example, to do pre-emergent properly, like prodiamine, you need a scale. You need an accurate ounce scale or gram scale to be able to measure out the product. So just, it's a little bit more involved, but it's not hard. So I'm just, so given the choice between the two, I do liquids primarily. I've done granular in the past, but I primarily do liquids these days, because it just saves me time if I want to put something else down with it. Like for example, when I did my Celiprin app, I did my Spectacle Flow app, when I did that in late August, early September, I did these two together. So I did Spectacle Flow at 0.10 ounces per thousand, and then I did a Celiprin at 0.20 ounces per thousand. So both these went in the tank, same time, sprayed them at the same time, watering them in, and I got my insecticide and my fungicide and my pre-emergent app done at once. Also, let's say if you were going to do a fungicide application, same thing. Because it needs to get in the soil, you could mix a fungicide like Pillar SC, along with your prodiamine and spray it all at once. You know what I mean? So as far as like a time saver, that's the biggest benefit. Options. You get more options with liquids than you do with granular. So hope that helps, Leo. It's not that one is superior from a standpoint of protection, assuming they're applied properly, but liquids, hopefully I've convinced you that, once you get over the little bit of math you have to do, that liquids are in many ways, I think the way to go. Also, the cost per application for liquids tends to be a bit better. Like your cost per app is cheaper usually with liquids than with granular. All right, Will Covey's up next. He says, "Happy Friday, Ron. I just got done top dressing with 14 cubic yards of topsoil by hand. Bless your heart. How are you still alive? How are you even typing this? 14 yards by hand? Whew. I took all day. Tiring work. Excited to overseed in 2 days once this storm passes." Man, dude, 14 yards of 20 cubic yards of topsoil. Good grief, man. Wow. That is that's a workout. That's a workout. You got to send us a picture, Will. If you have a picture of it, you should send it into the show so I can show the folks the glory of all your hard work. So I got some. Speaking of pictures, I got some here from Timothy Smith. Let's see if I can get him up here on the live stream, and it's pretty awesome. So he's got Bermuda in the front, Zoysia in the back. And how his lawn looks is consistent like what I'm seeing at the Real Rollers Turf Park, where they have Bermuda and they also have 2 Zoysia plots. And the Zoysia is kicking right now. It's looking fire. It's looking really good. So let's see if we can get these up. So this is picture 1. Actually, I'm gonna show you guys the Bermuda first. Let's start with what we all know and love, which are Bermuda lawn. So this is Bermuda lawn, his front lawn, which I think looks great, right? That looks good. I mean, I don't think anyone would be upset about that. I mean, you could tell the color isn't as popping, isn't as good as what you might find, in say the June, July timeframe, but still not many people would complain about that. We have another picture here a little bit later on in the day. Color looks a little bit better. And again, not bad, right? But now if you compare that to his Zoysia in the back lawn, so I got picture 1. This is picture 1 of his Zoysia. I mean, look at that color. I mean, look at that. That's pretty right there. I don't care who you are. Even if you don't like grass, you got to admit that looks good. Even if you don't like grass, you have to admit that Zoysia in this time of year is a thing of beauty. And another picture showing his fence line. And also something else to consider too, if you look at this, right? So he's got a fence line, and looking at the left side of this picture, it looks like to me like his back lawn gets quite a bit more shade than say his front lawn does. Like that's, I consider that full sun. There's plenty of sunlight, not a whole lot of obstacles other than the house that will prevent sun from getting that. When you look at the back, you can see there's a fence line, and it looks like there's some large trees along the left side of this picture, but the Zoysia still looks great. Whereas Bermuda in that area would struggle. It would not look that good. So it shows you that Zoysia, for his back lawn really is the correct tool, is the correct choice. And it looks phenomenal, Timothy. So again, thanks for sending the pictures. Really, really good stuff. So it can be done. Absolutely can be done. Zoysia in the back, Bermuda up front. All right, next up is Walter Bevan. He has a question. He says, "I'm in South Florida with St. Augustine grass. Is there any problem applying 2 different pre-emergents at about the same time? I'm specifically referring to dithiopyr and indaziflam." I mean, while you could, yes, you technically could, Walter. Indaziflam, that is the active ingredient in Spectacle, I believe. I'm pretty sure, yeah. So that would stand by itself. So really, could you do that dithiopyr and Spectacle? Sure, but this by itself really should be all you need. The only reason why I would say dithiopyr might make sense is if you are trying to control some young crabgrass, like then it could have some benefits. But like this by itself is gonna do the trick, man. It's gonna. Whereas if you told me that you're thinking about mixing, let's say dithiopyr and Princep and say a post-emergent like Amazoquin, like Image, like that, I would say, yeah, sure, go for it. That makes more sense. But like Spectacle by itself, it doesn't typically need a whole lot of help. You know what I mean? To produce a good result. So I would be less inclined to tell you to do that. I would just do one or the other. And of the two, Spectacle, the Indaziflam is the one that I would go with. So yeah, I don't think that's given what you're going to be working with, I don't think that's going to be necessary. Be sure, I'm imagining using Spectacle Flow, but be sure that if you're doing that, be sure to check the application rates, because it does vary from grass type to grass type. Don't look at the rates that I am using on my Bermuda and take that as gospel and think that's going to be fine for St. Augustine. You want to make sure that any guidance that they have for your particular warm season grass type, you follow. So here's what I would be more inclined to do, Walter, is given that you're in Florida, if you had some weeds that are currently in the lawn, I wouldn't be opposed to you spraying like a post-emergent along with it. But again, Spectacle doesn't typically need a whole lot of help to produce a good result. Like let's say, for example, you had some POA breaking through, some POA in your lawn already, right? Which again, I kind of doubt you do, but let's say you had that. I could see you using Spectacle, and then if you put some certainty in the tank like that, I could see, and then just waiting, one day before you watered the pre-emergent in, like that would make more sense to me. But mixing like prodiamine or dithiopyr along with Spectacle, just I don't think is really necessary. So I personally would not, is what I'm trying to say. Great question. Hopefully that helps. If you need anything else, definitely let me know. All right, Brandon Henry, I guess my cousin, he says, "Hey Ron, love the show. Do you know how much Progress EC per gallon for cool season grass per 1,000 square feet?" I do not. I can look it up if you. I mean, I don't know. I don't know, Brandon, off the top of my head. I would say check the label. I mean, it's gonna have that spelled out. Like the one part. There's two parts of any label for any product that's gonna be really clear. It's gonna be crystal clear. The first is the safety equipment requirements, meaning like, wear your PPE, wear like gloves, gloves, shoes, long pants, eye protection if it calls for it. And the second part that's going to be really crystal clear are the application rates. If they're going to have tables, they're going to have any kind of special guidance. I would absolutely just check the label. The label is going to be the most important thing to look over, because also you say cool season lawn, is it rye? Is it fescue? Is it Kentucky bluegrass? The rates might be different, for each of those. So for all those reasons is why I would say to check the label. Like the question I had earlier about prodiamine on a turf type tall fescue lawn, I'm pretty sure like 0.20 is correct. Like that will work on a cool season lawn. But the best thing is always to check the label, because it varies from grass type to grass type. So sorry, I'm not more help on this one, Brandon. If you want, if you want to tell me what kind of grass you have, you can send me an email. Let me get this up here real quick. My email address is ron@golfcourselawn.com. If you want to send me an email there, and along with the type of grass you have, I can look at the label and give you my thoughts on how I would apply it based on what on the label's guidance. But without those additional details, I'm not going to be a ton of help. So yeah, feel free to drop me a line. Make sure you include your grass type, and we'll go from there. So thanks for coming to hang out, man. One of my cousins, I guess, right? Mr. Brandon Henry. All right, next up is No Name in the live stream. Actually, before we do that, No Name we have a question here on the gram. This one is from Irma Stead. Says, "Happy Friday. Your opinion on the best pre-emergent. Tried prodiamine, still had weeds. It depends on your grass type. It depends on what you're trying to control. For cool season grass in the fall, prodiamine is an excellent choice. It's a great choice for a fall pre-emergent. For warm season grass in the fall, I am a fan of Spectacle Flow. So this is a great option. So it really depends on the weed that you're trying to keep out of your lawn, your grass type, because there are some pre-emergents, for example, Spectacle, you can't spray this on cool season grass. It's really designed for warm season grass only. So it just depends. When it comes to prodiamine, you say you got some breakthrough. Pre-emergent isn't perfect. Like you should get a major reduction in the amount of weeds you have in your lawn. But if you did a single application of, say, prodiamine, like say now or like early September, and then later on in the year, December, January timeframe, depending on where you are in the country, you start to see some weeds break through. Yes, you may have that, but it's still going to be a lot less than if you had not applied pre-emergent. Because while prodiamine is great, again, it's not perfect, especially against POA. You know what I mean? So you might try, in your case, you might try a different one. You might try split applications where you do an application now and then you do another application a few months later to try and extend the coverage. But it really depends on what kind of grass you have and what weeds you're trying to control. Those are the two pieces of information that would be helpful as far as helping you decide like what pre-emergent would be a great fit for your particular lawn. So hope that helps, Irma. If you have any other questions, let me know. And then next up is Real Hopeful says, what is the difference between Lesco Pre-Emergent 1709 for crabgrass with fertilizer versus the 007 Pre-Emergent? Great question. So the amount of, for one, the product that you're mentioning from Lesco is that's more of a traditional weed and feed. It's got 17% nitrogen, 9% potassium in it. So that is more along the lines of something you may use in the springtime if you're trying to give the lawn a weed and feed to kind of wake the lawn up and also take care of weeds and prevent weeds. Like that's an option for that. You can also use it as a fall pre-emergent too if your lawn is not checking out anytime soon. The 007 is, while it's also technically a weed and feed, it really just has potassium in it. So as far as of those two options, the 007 is not going to push nearly as much growth as the Lesco product. And of the two, I would lean more towards that. I would lean more towards the 007 because when it comes to fertilizer, I like to, as much as possible, I like to decouple my fertilizer apps and my herbicide applications. So, for a granular fertilizer, a granular pre-emergent with a little bit of potassium in it, I don't get too much heartburn about that. But if you go out and you look at like what's available in a 17% nitrogen and 9% potassium product when it comes to fertilizer, there's tons of options. Like you could go with Humic Max, which is like a 1608, effectively the same, similar analysis. And with that, you get like almost 9% humic acid, which is great. You could go with a myriad of other fertilizers that again have a similar formulation to that you're also going to get like a micronutrient with it. You can get there's different blends that contain other ingredients. So if it were me, I would lean more towards doing like the 007 and then using a fertilizer of my choosing to feed the lawn. But that is more expensive. And if, for budgetary reasons, you're trying to just get a pre-emergent down and you're also trying to get get some fertilizer in the lawn, then the 1709 is a good choice, but it's not something that I would use consistently on the lawn. At most in the spring and in the fall, and that's it. But again, for me, the 007 with a standalone fertilizer would be the way that I would go. So hope that helps. Real hopeful. All right. So next up, I got some more questions here, but I will jump back to you guys. Let me go back over here to the to YouTube. All right. So we got a super chat first of all from Mr. Dalvin Larry. Let's get that really quick. Thank you so much, Dalvin.
Super chat received.
We'll take another sip of James Smith's special. Thank you so much, Dalvin. It says, put down my pre-emergent and made a super concoction with Spectacle Flow, Princep, Quidclorac, Pillar SC, and a Celiprin. I had some crabgrass I wanted to hit, and I bought that large thing of Princep last year, and I didn't want to waste it. Okay, so the Princep, I would say you didn't really have to do. Everything else, sure. So you got your pre-emergent down, you did your fungicide, you also did your insecticide, and a little bit of post-emergent for some crabgrass. Yeah, I mean, that works. And the Princep, again, really unnecessary if you're using Spectacle Flow, but you said you already got it, you already had it, you want to begin using it up, so you want to put some of that down, fine. But this is a good example of the person that asked earlier about the difference between granular and liquid pre-emergent. What's the benefit or what's the pros and cons of each? Dalvin's question, or his comment rather, is a good example of the benefits of liquids because you can't do all of that at once with a granular product. Like you'd make an application of your pre-emergent, then you go out and you do another application of your fungicide, and then do another application of your insecticides. It'd be like at least 3 rounds on the lawn, and then if there's you actually do a granular for the crabgrass control, so it'd be like 4 applications, right? Versus you'd put all that in the tank and just spray it once, and you get everything. The only trick to that is because he's using a post-emergent like Quidclorac in there. What if it were, I'm not sure how you did it, Dalvin, but if it were me, if I were using that concoction, I would have sprayed the lawn and I would have let it sit for a day. let it sit for a day or so, and then the following days when I would run irrigation to water the fungicide, insecticide, and your pre-emergent in, because you really want to give that quinclorac a chance to be absorbed by the crabgrass, by the plant you're trying to control. But yeah, good stuff. Thank you so much for the super chat, sir. Again, the print set probably unnecessary, but I get it. You already got it, so you're trying to use it up. Makes sense. Thank you for all the love and support. All right, where we left off. Always the hard part. So while I look for that, and I take a sip of my palate cleansing Old Faithful lemonade, I'll put some Tango Bolero on. Oh man, it's this the James, the regular, the unadulterated lemonade is so much better. If you've not tried it, you got to go with that, man. That's a thing of beauty. All right, so next up we have No Name in the house. He says, not to jump past the current season, but with spectacle flow in the fall, what are you planning to use for your spring pre-emergent? More than likely prodiamine. I know varying up what's used is probably better for longevity. Yeah, No Name. So what I plan to do is I've done spectacle flow in the fall. In the spring, when I do my pre-emergent, more than likely to be like February-ish time frame, I will do prodiamine. That's what I will go with. I still have some. I still have I've got like a 5-pound tub of the water dispersible granule. I've worked through quite a bit of it, but I've still got plenty enough to be able to do my lawn, Alex's lawn. So yeah, I will be using prodiamine in the springtime, spectacle flow in the fall. So thank you for that question. Good stuff. All right, so back over to the gram. We had a couple of questions here. We got Xavi in the house saying hello. What's going on? Thanks for coming to hang out. Doug Flanders, what's going on, Doug? Hopefully you're doing well, sir. Maybe I'll see you at Cry tomorrow. Hopefully you're doing good, man. And the next up question is, when should we end PGR and fertilizer applications for this season? Depends on where you are in the country. If you are my neighbor in Georgia, nearby me in Georgia, which I think you kind of are, I will probably not apply any more Primo. So I did an application a couple days ago. The lawn has really slowed down with the temps that we've been getting, and I'm likely done with Primo. When it comes to fertilizer, I will do a granular fertilizer app, the Stress 12024. I'll be putting that down the beginning of October, and I will still spray liquids, but it will be without Primo Max in it. So whether I do a liquid app the middle of October, that's kind of left to be seen depending on temperatures. But really the last granular is going to be October 1st, and then liquids to be determined. You know, maybe there'll be another one October 15th, but it really depends on how the grass is looking and how temperatures are doing. But as far as Primo, I am going to shut that down based on my application on Wednesday and what I'm seeing in the lawn based on just the temperatures and how the grass is growing. Again, literally, I mowed the entire lawn, and I didn't even fill up a basket mowing the entire thing, mowing over 11,000 square feet. So it's really slowed down how quickly it's growing this time of year. Great stuff. So if you need anything else, let me know. Appreciate the question. All right, next up we have Deadly Mantising, watching from New Zealand. What's going on, man? Thanks. It's awesome. Sweet. I appreciate it. From down under. I like having fans from all over the world. That's pretty cool. Thank you so much for all the love and support. Hopefully you're getting something out of it. So for you guys, let me think. So for you, you're coming out of winter and your spring is about to start. Now let me think about this. When it's winter, when it's summer here, it's winter there. So you're going through spring and then you're about to go into summer. So starting to warm up for you guys I guess is what's happening, right? Cool stuff. All right. Next up is Keith Madison. Keith always comes in on Facebook. I think Keith likes Facebook more than he does YouTube. He says, "Good Friday, Ron. How many mows did it take to have stripes start showing up cleanly? Typically 419. And are you putting down any carbon products during the winter? Thank you so much." So as far as how many mows, it's just consistency. So while I vary the mowing pattern, each time I mow, I'll mow either lengthwise or like away and from the house. Let me see if I've got a video of the lawn. I probably do. I think I got one from last week. Let's see here. Yeah, I do. Cool. So if you look here, we'll pause it right chair right there. So the light lines are passes where I am mowing towards the house. The dark green lines are the ones where I'm mowing away from the house. So whenever I mow, you'll notice that pretty much when I'm mowing the lawn in this pattern, I go over the same stripes. So you can see if you look at the patio, like where the patio on the left side where it stops, you can see I use that as a guide. So literally the light stripe is aligned with the left side of the patio. And then the right side, if we keep coming over, this one, let me see if I can get this playing again. On the right side, I've got like a little notch in there. Like, the old iPhones had the notch. So I always mow the notch on the right side. This one is a dark stripe with me, again, mowing away from the house. So on the left side, I'm mowing towards it. On this one, I'm mowing away from the house towards like where this video is being taken. So what I would say that's going to help you to get your stripes to be more defined is to, like, setting your stripes is a thing, like setting your lines is a thing, and vary it. So, right. So for example, if this were my lawn, then, and the way you guys just saw in the video, like this, like the house is here and we're mowing this way. Like every time I mow this way, I'm going over pretty much the same lines to keep them nice and crisp and defined. But then I'll mow once like this, and the next time I mow, a couple of days from now, will be like this. So I go back and forth. I go this way, and then this way, and then this way, and then this way. So I flip back and forth, but each time I go over pretty much the same stripes, and that's going to help them to be more defined. Another thing that's going to help you, if you can, Keith, if you have access to a turf rake, you have some way of turf raking the lawn, that is going to make I can't really stress like how big of a difference that makes in your stripes, because while mowing the lawn with your real mower is in your, even if you keep the stripes, you go over the same lines, is going to produce good looking stripes, right? It's not going to be quite as good as what also happens when you are combing the grass in that direction. So this is right after turf raking. And the reason why the stripes look so defined, if I wish I had a close-up where I could actually show you guys, but in addition to the grass being laid in the directions that you're seeing for the different stripes, it's also combed that way. So the grass is literally all being encouraged to grow in that direction too. You know what I mean? So that really is what some of what you're seeing here is what really makes these stripes look very, very defined and popping. You don't have to do that to have great stripes, but if you can bring a little bit of turf raking into your life, it really will make a difference in the way Bermuda looks and how it stripes. Again, you guys have been following my channel. I'm not sure how long you've been doing it, but anyone that's following the channel for a while, for over many years, the way I mow the lawn really hasn't changed too much. Like, I mean, I still mow, as far as the frequency goes, like every other day I'm out there mowing it. But what the biggest difference you see from last season to this season, or from last year and seasons before last year, is the introduction of turf raking and verticutting once per month. Like, that has made a tremendous difference in how the lawn looks. So that's something you might consider doing. As far as your other question on, am I putting down any carbon products during the winter? Yes, I'm still going to be doing Essential G monthly. That's still going to be a thing because the ground really doesn't freeze here in Georgia. So the rule for that is, as long as the ground doesn't freeze where you are, you're good to apply Essential G or whatever your granular biostimulant of choice happens to be. In my case, it's going to be, if you go to shop and you go to Miramichi Green Biostimulants, it is going to be this. It's going to be this. Essential G is what I'm going to be putting down. Every month. It's going to be next month, in November, then December, then January, every single month. And you know what, Keith, great question. So because you asked a question that got me to talk about something from Miramichi Green, we will make you our Miramichi question of the night, because the second question you asked about carbon is related to them. So congrats for that. You, sir, if you want, I mean, not everybody wants one, but if you want, you can now get yourself one of these free and super high quality Greatness from the Ground Up t-shirts from courtesy of Miramichi Green. So if you want the shirt, feel free to drop me an email, say, hey, it's Keith Madison, and I will email you back. I'll tell you how to claim your prize. You're saying to yourself now, Ron, what is your email address? I'm glad you asked. It's right here. It's ron@golfcourselawn.com. Send me an email. Just say, hey, Keith Madison from the live stream, and I'll tell you how to win one of these cool shirts. And so Miramichi will be able to use your question about carbon over the winter months as the question of the week. So congrats for that. We'll clap it up for you. Clap it up. Congrats, Keith. Enjoy the shirt. So it's actually a pretty good quality shirt. I like mine. I mean, I like that one. I put it on, but I don't go outside. I don't sweat in it because I want it to look nice and be able to show you guys, hey, look at the cool shirt. When I go out and I start using it, all the time, it won't look as good. I guess I could just get a second one, right? That would be an option. That would be an option. So yeah, enjoy it, sir. Again, great. Thank you for the question. If you need anything else, let me know. All right, nothing else from the Instagram. Actually, no, we do have one. We do have one. So one we have, the question we have now is from Real Hopeful 2. He says, do you recommend pre-emergent granular in the spring, summer, and fall for prevention? Someone said they do that. I believe they use a liquid. Yeah, so there are some people that apply pre-emergent year round. Real Hopeful. Depends on where you are. Like if I lived in, let's say I live in Florida or Arizona or like South Arizona or somewhere where it just, you really don't have much of a winter where it just stays hot all the time and weeds are, and the grass is growing all the time. In that case, I could see the merits of doing, quarterly pre-emergent applications. In Georgia, at least where I live in Georgia, that's really not necessary to get great control. Just twice per year, we get good results with that. So I would say yes, depending on where you are, like what part of the country you're in. But again, in my part of the country, not really necessary. And for most people, I'd say they're going to do just fine with just 2 apps. So you're in Georgia, yeah. So I would do spring and fall. I would do spring and fall. That you're gonna be just fine with a spring pre-emergent app and a fall pre-emergent application. If you really want to try and extend your spring pre-emergent, what you can do, again, I don't do this, but you can do this if you want, is you can do a split application in the spring. So you can do your first one in late February, early March timeframe, and then you can do another application in April timeframe, and that's going to help extend your the coverage of how long the pre-emergent controls the weeds that it's designed to control. So, but yeah, twice per year is what I'm a fan of doing in Georgia. And yeah, so hope that helps, sir. Great question. All right. Next up is Deadly Mantis from New Zealand. He says, watching from New Zealand, spring has just sprung here, so opposite season to you guys. Just scalped, aerated, dethatched, overseeded, top dressed, ready to dominate the neighborhood. Nice, man. I like it. I like it. So you're not messing around. Spring is here, or spring is there, rather. Spring is there, and you are getting ahead of the game. So very, very cool. Deadly Mantis, next time, if you're fine with it, you got to send us an email. You got to send us a picture and show us how the lawn is looking. ron@golfcourselawn.com, so we can see the fruits of all your hard work. So you can show off to everyone. You can see how he's how the lawn is doing. All right, Jared is up next. He says, thanks, Ron. I'll get them to you later this weekend. Really appreciate how you deliver answers. I'm happy that you were happy. I'm happy that you were happy, Jared. I try my best. All right, next up is Adam Carter. He says, how do you spell the post-emergent? You said image and what? Yeah, so image, you know what? I'm going to help you out. I'm going to make it even easier for you, Adam. Even better, because I've got a video that talks about mixing that concoction. Image, simazine, like I'm like mixing things. I'm talking about the brand name. So imazaquin, simazine, and prodiamine. But I've got a video that actually shows how I mix it. There's not the only way to do it, but how I like to do it that produces a good result. It was a video that I did, I want to say it was last year. Is when I did that. It may have, I think it was actually a live stream too. So we will look for, there it is. There we go. Keep weeds out of your lawn this fall. It's a 31-minute live stream. So, and in the description of that live stream, Adam, you'll see the links to the products I'm talking about. But I cover like exactly how I did like 2 backpack sprayers, one for the cool season folks, and then one for the warm season folks. And I gave like application rates and my thoughts on what I would do, and it was one from last year. So I will get that to you right now because it's still handy for this time of year as well. So at Adam Carter. You're not related to John Carter, are you? Like the Terminator? No relation? Just checking. Okay. No? All right. So this live stream on fall pre-emergent options from last year will get you all squared away. So take a look at that. Let me know if you need anything else. James Smith is back. He said, on the sugar drink coming from San Diego to the southeast, tasted like like a pound of sugar per gallon. Sounds like a 1,000 square feet mix. I don't understand the amount of sugar the South uses. Hey, James, look, you're in Georgia now. You're in the South, or you're in North Carolina now. You're in the South. We like our sweet tea. We like our lemonade. We like our college football. Like those things are just never going to change ever. And what you can do is just do like half and half. Like there are people, that do sweet tea and they will do like half sweet, half unsweet. That's acceptable. You can absolutely do that. I don't know if you do half sweet, half diet sweet. I'm not sure how that would work, but yeah, but that, I mean, the amount of sugar, that's not going to be, not going to really change. I'll tell you, James, sometimes what I'll do as well too, even with Old Faithful here, even with Old Faithful, I will sometimes water it down. Like I'll take a like a cup like this, like a tumbler, and I'll put like that much water in it, and then I'll fill the rest up with the good stuff. You know what I mean? I have been known to do that, especially like if I'm out mowing the lawn, it's really hot, and I just want something that's refreshing and it has the flavor of lemonade made with love, but I just doesn't need to be that sweet. I will dilute it with water. So you could always do that. You could always just, dilute with water a little bit, but I mean, it's probably not going to change, man. Again, college football, sweet tea, lemonade, probably not going to change. So I get it. All right, next up is Anna Duran. She says, I am excited today. I mowed low. You mowed low. She dethatched. She aerated. She sprayed tenacity, and now about to drop my seed. I just need to get fertilizer. Thanks for all your help. You are on your way, man. I mean, you're getting it done. You got it. Grass cut, so you're trying to thin things out a little bit. You dethatched. When you say dethatched, hopefully what you really meant was like turf raked. Let's hope. You aerated. You sprayed a herbicide to try and keep the weeds at bay, and then you're about to drop your seed. All right, man. So you're doing all the things. Very cool. Keep us posted as far as how it goes, how it does. All right, let's see if we have any other questions on the Instagram. So Morrow says, Ron, do you have any long sleeve stripe action shirts on the store? I don't have the t-shirts, I have the hoodies. So if you look at some of my videos that I've done over the winter months or early spring, when it's cold out, I've got like hoodies. I've got like stripe action hoodies that I can do. But you know what? I can look at the t-shirts. Let me make a note of that. Long sleeve t-shirts. I can do that. I can make that happen. I can make that happen, Morrow. I will do my best to get a design done, and by next week, on the live stream, I should be able to have something to be able to show you. But right now, you can get a hoodie. There is the hoodie if you like hoodies. And then next up is Real Hopeful. Is another question. He says, "What are your thoughts on the 5-in-1 from Bio Advanced? Best time to use it. When to use it? Heard it was for lawns that has not had any food fertilization in years. I've never used I don't even know what's in it to be able to comment on it. So I don't know. I can't speak to it. I mean, I would say look at the reviews, see what people say about it that have been using it. Make sure that based on the problem it's designed to solve, that you have that problem in your lawn, so that you're using the right tool for the job. But if all things being equal, if you apply it properly, it's a good fit for what you need. You should get good results with it. But I can't speak to it because I've never actually used that product. I don't even know what's in it. So sorry I'm not more helpful on this one, Real Hopeful. But yeah, let me know what you find out once you dig into it a bit more, and you can decide whether or not you're going to use that one or not. Okay, next up we have Timothy Smith. He says, "Hey Ron and serious lawn care people." That's what he said. I guess that's fair. I mean, if you're on a live stream on a Friday night talking about grass, then you are pretty serious about your lawn. He says, "Hey Ron and real serious lawn people. I mentioned last week I would send pics. Again, love Bermuda, and I have work to do with Zoysia Israel." And you are right. I would agree with you on that, Timothy, that your Bermuda looks good. But the Zoysia does look better, especially this time of year. I will give it to you that given the two this time of year, that looks better than that. I will give it to you. Bermuda, though, in springtime, late spring, early summer, is a thing of beauty. It does look quite nice. Next up is Justin Judkins. He says, "Is Dimension okay to use as a fall pre-emergent?" Sure, Justin. If that's what you want to go with, you absolutely can. So the active ingredient in Dimension is dithiopyr. That can work just fine. I am a fan of using that particular pre-emergent in the springtime more so than the fall. Reason being is that dithiopyr has the ability to control young crabgrass, and for most people, unless you live in Florida, crabgrass isn't really a problem this time of year. Like, at least new crabgrass isn't a problem this time of year. So yes, you can use Dimension. You can do it now, but in my opinion, it's a better fit for a spring pre-emergent. A comparable product to Dimension this time of year would be to use prodiamine or brand name Barricade, right? You could use that this time of year in lieu of Dimension. So hope that helps, sir. Either one will work well, just as long as you apply it at the correct rates. no reason why it wouldn't work. But hopefully my explanation as to why I would lean more towards dimension in the spring versus prodiamine is making sense to you. All right, so next we have Philip Todaro. Yes, Philip Todaro. I think you're new, Philip. I don't remember seeing your name before, but if you are new, welcome. Because I will be doing an application of Spectacle Flow next weekend for some neighbors. Do you recommend spraying a post-emergent along with that application? Also, do you add anything else to Flow besides water? Yeah, so great question, Philip. When I did my Spectacle Flow application, I also did an insecticide app at the same time. I put some acelepryn in the tank. The application rate I used for that was 0.20 ounces per 1,000 square feet. So I did my pre-emergent, my fall pre-emergent, and insecticide at the same time. If your neighbors have, or the lawn you're spraying happens to have weeds in it already, you can put some post-emergent herbicide in there as well. So if you're dealing with, say, some POA that's in the lawn already, I mean, you could use Certainty. That's an option. If you're dealing with broadleaf weeds, you could do Celsius. So this could go in the tank at the same time. So you could do these two in the tank along with Spectacle at the same time and spray it all at once. If you decide to go that route, though, I would give it a day or so after spraying that concoction before you run irrigation to water it in, because you want these guys to have the opportunity to dry on the leaf of the weed that you're targeting. So giving it a day after application to dry is a good idea. So yeah, good question. Hopefully that helps. And in my case, I just did insecticide along with my pre-emergent, but you can absolutely do a post-emergent herbicide with your Spectacle app as well, Philip. Definitely. It just depends on what problem are you trying to solve. What problem are you trying to solve or prevent? That's the question you have to ask yourself as far as what should I be putting in the tank when I am spraying a given lawn. So good stuff. Hopefully that gives you some ideas. And again, the nice thing is what I tend to find is this, right? If you can stack soil-based products together, soil-based, it's not really soil-based, a product that needs to get in the soil to work. So like typically your fungicides, insecticides, and pre-emergent, all of those need to get in the soil profile to work properly. They benefit from like a larger droplet size spray tip, right? So those typically, if you're doing insecticide and Spectacle, you can mix them, spray them. And if that's all that's in the tank, you can literally run irrigation right after you're done. It's when you start playing with post-emergent herbicides as well, that's when you need to have a little bit of time buffer between them. You know what I mean? So that's if you're spraying a post-emergent herbicide like Celsius and Certainty along with Spectacle Flow, that's when you want a day or two. So in general, as a general rule, if you can, spraying or applying foliar uptake products together usually produces the best result. And then spraying products that need to get in the soil together produce good results. So a good example is if you were going to spray, say, fertilizer, right? And you wanted to also spray like liquid fertilizer and also spray your plant growth regulator. That's a great idea because like the liquids that I use on my lawn, right? The golf course lawn carbon kit with 901C, that along with Primo Max, like all of these need to be absorbed by the plant in the same way, using the skin, the leaf of the plant. That's how they're taken up. So it makes sense to mix all those together, spray them all together, because you spray them, let it dry, and you're done, right? But when it comes to soil, products that need to get in the soil, that's when you want to be more careful when you're mixing those along with foliar products. So hope that helps. Hopefully I didn't confuse you there at the end, but I just want to give you some more context around what you are, how you're mixing things. So good stuff. All right. See if you have any more questions here on the gram. And we do. Nope. We do. One from, he says, is the 17:7:6 ratio better for fall time or springtime or summer? If your soil test results say that you need phosphorus, then I wouldn't have a problem with using that in the spring and summertime. Yeah. I'd say it'd be just fine, but only if you need phosphorus. If you don't need phosphorus, don't use that. Is there a granular Celsius? No, not that I'm aware of. There's not. Celsius does not come in a granular. And really, that's a great question. When it comes to post-emergent herbicides, there are some granular options that are okay, but for the most part, what you'll find is whenever you're trying to kill weeds after the fact, most of your post-emergent herbicides are going to be liquid in form. And for the reasons that I was saying earlier, going with liquids allows you to combine them and do, you have more control over application rates. You can mix other post-emergent herbicides along with it. So I would, try to encourage you to just embrace liquids, embrace Celsius, certainty or whatever other liquid herbicide products that would be correct for your grass type, because ultimately it's going to give you a lot more options over how you take care of weeds in your lawn. All right, good stuff. Next, we got James Smith. He says, forgot to add earlier, I guess I would be scalping, aerating, leveling, feeding weekend. Then would plan to use a 70-30 sand, 70-30 leveling sand from soil cubed. Nice. Yeah. So you're gonna scalp, aerate, level, feed. Yeah. So what I would do is you would. Again, James, I'm assuming you're talking about overseeding. If you're talking about overseeding, then yeah, scalp. I mean, not necessarily scalping your existing lawn, but if you're trying to lower the height of cut of your existing grass, and then you're going to aerate. For me, I would do any fertilizer or granular biostimulants after the aeration, and then level on top of that, because those products, again, a granular fertilizer, a granular biostimulant like Essential G, needs to get in the soil to work. So with the soil opened up from aeration, it makes more sense to me to apply those prior to closing up the holes by putting sand all over the entire lawn. Does it make sense? So you're looking pretty good there. I would just flip leveling and feeding, and you'd be good to go. Brad Larson is up next. He says, hey, Ron, can you please send some rain to North Alabama? Fingers crossed for next week. I'm curious what you think of Swardman's. I have a 6-blade Electra, and I just can't seem to get a quality cut. Okay, so I used all my rain sending juju for Texas, because Texas, the folks from Texas that watch the channel, and when June-ish hits, man, it's a whole lot of complaining and what's happened to us, why are we being deserted? So I called in all my favors to Mother Nature for Texas right now, unfortunately. But you should be getting rained here soon, Brad. I mean, we get plenty of rain here in Georgia, so I can't imagine that Northern Alabama would be that much drier than we are. As far as Swardman's, so the use I have with Swardman's has been somewhat limited, right? You guys look at my video from a couple of years ago. I did a like a turf rake, like a turf raking, a heavy turf raking / dethatching of my lawn with a Swardman, and all the more reasons why I tell you guys don't do it. And my impression of the mower was that it's not as solidly built as other options in the market. That's probably the best way of saying it. I mean, I'm sure it cuts well if it's set up properly, but like a Swardman would not work on my lawn. Given the size of my lawn, it just wouldn't. I would wear the machine out, because when I started with it on the back lawn, by the time I got to the front, like the belts were slipping, and it just wasn't. It wasn't for me. It wasn't a great experience. I've never used the Electra, their electric reel mower, to be able to comment on how it does. But I've used the gas one, and it was okay. It wasn't, I think on a smaller lawn, it would be all right. But for a larger lawn, I would lean more towards like an Allet or something. If you're looking for the ability to do all the cultivations like turf raking and verticutting and all that kind of stuff, I would lean towards that more so than the Swardman. At least in the example that I got to test with, right? I borrowed reel rollers, which, I mean, they know Swardman really well. They used to be a dealer for them, right? So if anyone knows how to set one up properly, they would. And even in my case, it was I would say, a lackluster experience. As far as you getting a quality cut, I mean, really, it's only a couple of things, man. If there's not coning in the reel that's causing one side to cut better or cut more than the other, that could be part of your problem. But really, if the mower is cutting paper all the way across, and that's the biggest thing. If the mower's cutting paper all the way across, and your height of cut is set up properly, I mean, for your particular grass, it should cut okay. But if it's those are the things I would check. If it's not cutting paper all the way across, you're going to have trouble getting an even cut. Also check. And I don't know how you would adjust on a Swardman, but also check to make sure that both sides of the mower are the same. So if you have I've got an AccuGauge, if you have an AccuGauge, have some way of checking the height of cut on both sides, make sure that is equal, because if they're off only by, if you're off by 10 thousandths, you'll see it. It's going to be visual. You'll see a visual difference in the lawn if you do that. So I would I would not. I would check those. Those are the basics. The same thing I would check with any other mower. That's what I would look for. Make sure that both sides are the same. Make sure that both sides are the same, and that it cuts paper all the way across. And as far as my thoughts on it, I mean, it was an okay mower. It would not work on my lawn. I think for a smaller lawn, it would be just fine. Okay, next is Alvin Rivers. Alvin Rivers is up next. He says, hey, Ron, how to get rid of mites in the lawn? Yes, for Bermuda mites, there's a product called Delta Guard. Delta Guard, that is what I've recommended to folks in the past. I, fortunately, knock on wood, have not had to deal with mites in my lawn, but I'll send you a link to the product that I am talking about. It's a granular product. Yeah, this is it right here. This is what you'd apply to your lawn. Everyone that I've recommended this to has reported back that it's done a good job for them. So Bermuda Mite Control. There you go. So take a look at that, and let me know if that does the trick for you. Okay, next up is David Hollinsworth. David's in the house. And then next up he says, here's my lemonade recipe, Ron. I've been drinking it for like 3 years and it's delicious. Okay, all right. To make 1 gallon, squeeze 12 lemons and 5 limes with 3 cups of organic stevia. Best low-calorie lemonade. 12 lemons, 5 limes, and 1 gallon of water, and 5 cups of organic stevia. Sounds like a lot of work, David. I mean, how do you squeeze the 12 lemons? By hand? How do you do that? It seems like a lot of work. I don't know. I'll take a screenshot of your suggestion. Might give it a go. And you're saying it doesn't have a lot of the aftertaste that the James Smith has? Initially it's good. But then about a few seconds later, there it is. Yeah, we'll give it a shot, David. We'll see. All right, next up is Don Vasquez. He says, hope you and family are both doing well. I have a lot of clients asking if they should install sod or seed with rye until next spring. Most have big dogs over 60 pounds. What do you think? What is their goal, Don? I mean, is their goal, when you say install sod, are they planning on putting down sod, like rye, sod, they're putting down, using sod to install their lawn, or like a rye sod? So I've not really heard of that, but I guess it's probably a thing. Again, I'm not a cool season guy. So they do rye sod versus seed. Either way can work. You are going to get, you're going to go from no lawn to lawn going with sod. For most people I think I find are happier going the sod route versus the seed route. If they have big dogs, if they're going to be running around on the lawn, I mean, either way, you're going to want to keep the dogs, you're going to want to minimize the amount of heavy traffic on the lawn, whether you go with sod or seed. If you go with seed, you really want to minimize traffic on it, because you don't want, the dogs, they're digging and tearing up and pulling out the grasses it's trying to grow. So given that they have pets, the sod is what I would go for. I mean, sod is just, in general, for most people, they're happier with sod because here's the problem with grass seed, right? Can you grow a lawn from grass seed? Absolutely. Can it look incredible? Absolutely. The problem is that most people have unrealistic expectations when it comes to grass seed. They think that, I'm going to prepare the lawn, I'm going to put down grass seed, and over the entire lawn, it's going to all grow in all nice and evenly, and I'm going to start mowing it, and it's going to be a beautiful thing. And what you tend to find is certain areas, for whatever reason, more sunlight, better watering, better soil, tends to grow in more, and there are other areas that lag behind, and you may have to just give it more time. You may have to follow up with another seed, another overseed, and most people just don't have the patience for that. So I would say, if depends on what your neighbors want, but I would lean towards sod. The same answer I would give for Bermuda grass, the same one I would give for ryegrass. Growing Bermuda grass from seed is hard mode. Only do it if you've really got a really large property, and sod is just cost prohibitive. But most people are going to be happier with going the sod route than going the seed route. And you say, by the way, I live in Augusta. That's kind of far south to be doing ryegrass. So I guess if you're doing So now that you told me you live in Augusta, I'm a little bit more confused. If you have Bermuda and your I guess your customers or whoever you're doing this for are just want their lawn to be green throughout the fall and into the spring, kind of like what the Masters does, you'd overseed. The overseeding with ryegrass makes sense. If you're talking about a permanent lawn, like a permanent installation, that is when sod is the way to go. But I don't know that you really want to do ryegrass like sod and rye, or a ryegrass sod in Augusta. That's going to be, I think that's going to be a losing proposition when summer hits. So yeah. So I hope that helps, Don. If it's a Bermuda lawn and you're just trying to get the lawn to stay green throughout the fall and into the spring, overseeding with ryegrass is fine. If you're looking to establish a lawn and it's going to be just that, then most people tend to like the results they get with sod more so than the seed route. But I put a little asterisk on all this, saying that I wouldn't try and have a ryegrass lawn in Augusta, not year round anyway. I mean, the Masters looks great, but it looks great because the Masters is in April, right? That's when like ryegrass is looking incredible. So if you looked at I'm sure if you get a shot of Augusta National in like July, it's not looking so great. It's not looking anything like what it looks like in April during the Masters. You know what I mean? So something to consider. All right, next is James Smith. He says, I like the 26R, just not crazy on gas, trying to hold out on lead to get the battery. Maybe a manual would be nice. You know how I like my manual tools. I got you. I hear you. I hear you on that, on that, James. I hear you. Yeah, no worries there. Yeah, I don't know when the electric is coming. I know he did when he did the announcement on the live stream that he said that the cartridge system is coming and then the electric. I think the cartridge system is going to be in the cards prior to the battery powered one. So you might be waiting a while. You might be waiting a while to go that route. Real Hopeful 2 has a question that says, what are your thoughts on liquid aeration? I don't think that it is a replacement for hollow tine aeration. I think that if you look at when you think about liquid aeration, you're talking about products that are going to help improve or increase microbial activity to help break down thatch and just to help allow more air and moisture to then penetrate the soil. Liquid aeration products are better than doing nothing, but again, they are not in any way, in my opinion, a replacement for using a proper core aerator on the lawn. Nothing says you can't do both. I mean, technically, you look at like the golf course lawn carbon kit, right? That's got release 901C, which helps increase microbial activity. It's got a kelp product, which also helps with that, and then it's also got biospectrum, which is strictly food to help improve microbial activity. So if you want to, you could technically market it as a liquid aeration product. But I personally feel that it's a little bit disingenuous because it doesn't produce the same results as hollow tine aeration. Like liquid aeration is not going to relieve compaction anywhere nearly as good as what hollow tine aeration is going to do. And a good way of looking at this, Real Hopeful, if you look at sports fields like golf courses, any kind of professional turf, those guys and gals use core aerators. Like they use sometimes solid tine. They'll use core. They'll use a little core aeration. And the reason why they do that is because it's superior. Like if they could do liquid aeration and get the same results they get with using traditional core aeration, they absolutely would. Because think about it. Like whenever they core aerate greens, like the greens are shut down for at least a week or so, and even after that week, they're not in top form. So if they could just spray a liquid product on it and get this, relieve the compaction, remove thatch, do all those types of things, they would do it. But they don't, because the two things are not the same. So I would say that if you're looking to get the most out of aerating your lawn to relieve compaction, help air, water, to get into the soil profile, then core aeration is really the way you want to go. And you can always still spray your liquid aeration product after you're done core aerating. It's only going to help, but it's not a one. Those two things are not equal. They're not one for one. They both have aeration in the name, but they are not they're not remotely the same as far as the results that they can help produce. All right, Mauro has a question. He says, for those of us that need to amend our macros and micros this late in the season, do we still have some time to address this, or just wait till next season? For me, Mauro, I'm going to do one more fertilizer app. So, if you're in Georgia and you're going to do another granular fertilizer app, you can do one that aligns with your soil test results, and that's going to help amend things. And then outside of that, I would wait until next year. So hope that helps. All right, back to YouTube. Dwayne Odom says, just real mowed my bluegrass for the first time today. Real mowing feels so different to rotary. Super satisfying though. Yep, I would agree with that. I would agree with that. It does. It feels, it's very satisfying, and the look when it's done, mwah, gorgeous. Awesome stuff. All right, Will Covey says, pretty sure Alec got all the naming backwards. The dethatcher looks like a scarifier, and the scarifier looks like a dethatcher. No, it's even worse than that because they have the dethatcher, which what they call a dethatcher, I would agree with. But they have they call the scarifier and the turf rake literally, they call the same tool two different names. So that, I think they probably already printed up the documentation. They don't want to change a bunch of labels, but dethatcher, I think they've got that right. It's scarifier and turf rake that they are calling the same thing, two different things, which from like a marketing standpoint, just confusing people is not great. You know what I mean? But I'm sure there's reasons why they haven't changed it yet. If I had to imagine, they probably got a bunch of labels and stuff made up, and they're like, hey, why are we're gonna change it? Why are we, people, they'll figure it out. They're the same thing, right? All right, Jared is up next. He says, thanks, Ron. As far as bladed dethatcher or scarifier, I've heard you can still do that to Bermuda. I've heard it called verticutting. How's that different from turf raking, and when should I do that? Yeah, so when would you scarify and verticut your lawn? It's a great question. Verticutting, I'm a fan of doing in the late spring and summer months. So May, June, July, those are the months primarily when I would do verticutting. And then turf raking, you could do that weekly if you wanted to. So I'll show you the different tools so you can see a better idea of what I'm talking about. If you look here at Alet's website, if we go over to their commercial line, their commercial mowers, then if you look at their verticutter, the verticutter blades are going to be a lot more closely spaced, right? They're going to be maybe even an inch or so apart. And this is going to do a great job cutting the stolons and in general, thinning out the grass. So you can see how that is designed as a tool that's much better suited for vertically mowing the lawn, hence the name verticutter, than a tool like this, which is designed really for lawn cleanup. It's great. It's great for getting debris, thatch, clippings, getting that out of the lawn. So long short of it is verticutting once per month, turf raking weekly throughout the season whenever you feel like doing it. So they are very different. Verticutting I would consider to be more aggressive than turf raking / scarifying, and dethatching would be the most aggressive. And I almost never recommend that you do that to your lawn because most lawns just really don't need it. They just really don't. So yeah, hopefully that helps. If you want to go to Alet's website, go to like their professional mowers, and you'll be able to look through them, like the turf rake, the verticutter. You can look for yourself and see the differences that I'm referring to as far as what each tool does. And I've actually got a YouTube short that I did on this topic that says essentially what I just said to you. But if you want to see if I can find it really quick, I can send it to you. I may or may not have it. I may or may not have it up here. Turf rake. I may or may not have it handy here. Yeah, just go through my my shorts or my channel and see if you can, and just search for verticutting, and a shorter video should come up that covers that topic. He's bugging me now. I'm gonna have to find it. I'm gonna have to find it. It's bugging me. Let's see here. Well, no, I don't want to hold you guys up anyway, but there is a short on that topic where I literally have the verticutter, the turf rake, and the sorrel roller. I have all three of them. I have the sorrel roller, the turf rake, and the verticutter on the table, and I talk to really quickly what each one of them does. So yeah. All right. Next, we have Jimmy Miller. Jimmy Miller's in the house. He says, local weed and feed and seed has 50-pound bags of 10-10-10. Chicken applied last weekend, and the 3400 and crumble applied today. And all that remains is carbon. Sounds like a plan, Jimmy. Sounds like you found a way of locally finding some products to take care of your lawn. Said massive water bill pending soil test and then lime. Okay, that works. All right. So next up, let's see where we are here in The chat, cool, I got it. All right, next up we have Brian Turner. He says, good evening, Ron. On your golf course lawn site, you have that September would be our last app for Essential G. On several live streams, you mentioned October being the last time. Is October okay to put Essential G down? Yes. So here's the answer on that, Brian. The reason why on the website I say September, I shut down in September, is I don't know where a lot of the people that are going to be watching that are located. The correct answer for Essential G is as long as the ground is not frozen, you can apply it. So in Georgia, you could apply it year round. You can apply it every single month if you wanted to. There's not really any problem with doing that. If I have someone that's in like North Dakota or Montana watching this, you know what I mean? I don't want, I did put that in the schedule on the store because it needs to be broad. It needs to be for a broad audience. Cause I can't only like put stuff there that's for, you know, a Bermuda grass lawn in Northeast Georgia. That's gonna cause a lot of people to make, you know, choices or do things that are not appropriate for where they are and the kind of grass they have. So yeah. So September's fine, October's fine, November, December, January are also fine if you live in a place where the ground does not freeze, like Georgia. So if you're around here, you can absolutely do that. It's not going to hurt anything at all. It's what I do. It's what I do on my lawn. Every month, my lawn gets Essential G. All right, Gary Freeman is up next. He says, hey, Ron, hashtag Stripe Action Gang. Happy Friday to all. Thanks so much for that, Gary. I really do appreciate you. Great question and comment. And then next up here, we have, I'm looking to see where I am. Yep, okay, next up we got Joseph Moe. He says, howdy, Ron. Minimal weeds all summer. I put down Balin 2 weeks ago. Now it's full of weeds, mostly sedge and Dallas grass. Follow up with prodiamine, Dallas, Fort Worth, Bermuda. What is Balin? What is Balin? I don't know what that is, unless you're calling it something else. So you put down a product 2 weeks ago. Your lawn has mostly weeds, sedges, and Dallas grass. Follow up with prodiamine. So if you have Dallas grass, Joseph, your best bet is going to be to physically remove it, dig it out. There's not really a great post-emergent herbicide that you're supposed to use on residential lawns to control Dallas grass. So Dallas grass, dig it out. When it comes to sedges on Bermuda, a great choice, what I would recommend is to go with Certainty. So take Certainty and pair that with surfactant. These two together will do an excellent job cleaning up sedges. And if you ever have POA in your lawn, it'll also do that too. Where can you find that, you're asking? I'm glad you asked. If you go to the golf course lawn store, go to shop, and then go to Weed Killer. Under there, you will find Certainty on the top shelf because it's a top shelf product. And then supporting it, you'll find the high yield spreader sticker. So these two, Certainty and along with surfactant, that will do a great job controlling the sedges that you have in your lawn. And again, with the Dallas grass, just physically remove it. Prodiamine, I would get that down here sooner than later. That's your pre-emergent, and that really works best if it's in the soil profile prior to the weeds emerging. So before average soil temps are really in the 60s, you want to get the pre-emergent down. So what I tell people is whenever you're tracking your average soil temps and the average in your area is in the mid 70s trending cooler, get your pre-emergent down. Again, getting it down a week or so early is not going to hurt anything, and the results you're going to get are going to be better than if you wait and are like a week or two later. You see what I'm saying? So getting it down a little bit early is going to be better. But again, I'll send you a link here to where you can find Certainty and surfactant in the golf course lawn store, Joseph. And hopefully this gets you all squared away as far as controlling the weeds in your lawn. But yeah, Dallas grass, manual process. You're going to be digging that stuff out. Sorry you're dealing with it. I don't have a better option for you on that one, but the sedges we can do something about. And get your pre-emergent down. If you already got prodiamine, get it. We also have prodiamine on the golf course lawn store in case you don't have that in stock and have any of that as yet. But that, or if you're really trying to keep, like if you're trying to go top shelf, what you want to go with is instead of prodiamine, get Spectacle Flow. Not inexpensive, but you absolutely get what you pay for. This is about as good as it gets as far as a pre-emergent for Bermuda grass or any warm season grass. So yeah, Spectacle that's what I'm using on my lawn in the fall is Spectacle. All right, next up we have, let's see here. Next up we got James Smith, he says, team, don't forget to get your fall soil test sent in. I agree with that, James. That's a good idea. Doing your soil test in the spring and the fall are a good idea. In the springtime, because it lets you know, hey, what's going on with my soil, and allows you it gives you the guidance or the data you need to put together your nutrient program for the year. And then for the fall, it's a great way to measure the effectiveness of your nutrient program, and also importantly to figure out if you need to do anything to adjust the pH levels in your soil. So I'm a fan of doing a spring and a fall soil test. As a matter of fact, I'm going to get mine done before I do my October. Get my fall soil test done here soon. So good stuff. Thanks for that. Thanks for that PSA, James. Appreciate you. All right, so we have a question here from Instagram from B Show. Says, hi Ron, I live in coastal North Carolina, Zoysia lawn. I've been using the Lebanon Complete fertilizer this season since the spring. My soil test has shown that it was deficient in phosphorus. Let's see here. For the October application, would you recommend that I switch to the stress formula or continue with Complete? Should that be my last granular application for the year? Thanks. Either way can work. Be shown. Here's the thing with the 14-7-14, you're basically trading versus the stress. You're trading 24% potassium versus 14. So it is more potassium in the stress product. If you already have the Complete 14-7-14, I would just roll with that. If you're going to buy fertilizer for the end of this year, then yeah, go with the stress, the 12-0-24, and then you can resume using the Complete in the spring whenever you start your nutrient program up again. So yeah, either way will work. You're not going to get it because they both have potassium in them. It's just really more of whether you already have the stress 12-0-24 or not. If you do, great. If you don't, then I'm sorry. If you already have the Complete, then use that. And if you don't have either of them and you're looking to what you can use to close out the season, then the 12-0-24 would be a good choice. So hope that helps. And then Real says there's a thing such as spike aeration versus plug. Yeah, there are. Yeah, there's solid tine aeration and plugs and core aeration. So one removes cores, other ones like punches holes in the soil using a solid tine. So good stuff. All right. Let's see. Do we have any more super chats? Am I missing anything? I don't think so. All right. So where we left off now is Isaac Mompra. Actually, no, it's Brandon Henry. He says, insane work. Insane. 14 yards. Good work. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. 14 yards is a lot of material, man. That's pretty hardcore. Will says, yeah, my hands and forearms are sore, but it was worth it. I didn't get a chance to take a photo while I was working till sundown. I will take one tomorrow and send it next week. Nice. Very, very cool, man. Yeah, send it in. We'll get it on the live stream so we can show everyone the fruits of all your labor. All right, Isaac Monprouse says, welcome to the club. Hopefully you have some friends to help out. All right, so let's see I got a bunch of questions here. Let's see what else we have coming up. We got the real Canuck. Oh, that's not for me. You guys are having having a sidebar. That's fine. And then we have Ryan Babbage. Let's see here. Okay. Yeah. So Ryan Babbage. Actually, no. Before you use Julius, is Julius Elias. Let me get Julius first. So Julius first says, is in Florida. When can I do dethatching? Again, I wouldn't recommend it, Julius. I mean, as far as if you're going to dethatch your lawn, I would do it in the springtime because you've got the late spring, all of summer. It's going to give you plenty of time for the lawn to recover. It depends also where you are in Florida too. If you're south of I-10 where it does get a little bit cooler, but for the most part, the grass grows year round. If your heart is set on dethatching, you could do it. But again, if you can time it for when you're going to see higher temperatures, which means your grass is going to start growing more aggressively, it's going to recover faster. So if you're going to dethatch or do any kind of any kind of cultural practice that introduces some measure of stress to the lawn, I would try and limit that to whenever the grass is growing aggressively. And for warm season grass, that's in the spring and the summertime. So depending on where you are in Florida, you might be able to do it now too. But again, spring and summer is what is what I would say. That is what I would lean for. All right, Will Covey, he says, oh, that's not for me, that's for someone else. He says, Ryan Babbage says, great show. Ron, question. In regards to micronutrient management, I got my soil test results back and I'm deficient in several micronutrients. Do you focus on the micros or just the NPK? I do both. Like, it's the American answer. Why not both? Why not all of it? So if you had a soil that was deficient in micronutrient, Ryan, what you could do is this. So you go to shop, go to the lawn fertilizer to cover your macros. So your NPK, assuming they all need a little help. You could go with the complete 14-7-14 in a granular. This is going to do a lot of the heavy lifting for your macros. It also has a bit of iron in it too, and I think zinc. Let me. I should know this. Let me see what else is in this. I'll look at the analysis. Let's go to how to use. This is where I will have that. Now, where do I have the analysis? It might be in the product detail. It is, here. Yeah, so it's got iron, manganese, and magnesium. So that's what it has as far as that goes. So you do have your macros and a little bit of micronutrient. So I would pair that along with this, with a liquid product called Nutrizol. This is strictly a micronutrient. It's got iron, your copper, molybdenum, boron, zinc. It's got all your micros. So I would use this. I would use Nutrizol along with this. So you take a two-pronged approach to cover both your liquids and to address your macro and micro nutrient deficiency in your lawn. If you're interested in where you can pick that up, you can grab it here at Ryan. You know what I realized? I didn't send the other gentleman. Actually, maybe I did. The person that had the question on weed control. Let's do this on her. So let's do this. Weed control and pre-emergent. You can find that. I don't think I linked that. I said I was, and I think I got distracted. I got distracted, guys. It happens. Yeah, you can find those here. Okay, good stuff. All right, moving on. Next up, we got let's see. Eli Fires says, seriously, Ron, you're the nerdiest black dude I know. Just behind my buddy from boot camp. Love it. I'll take that as a compliment, I guess. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. All right. Next up we have Moon Doggy. Moon Doggy says, question, does Prediamine 65 work on foxtails? I had a problem last spring with them. It grew from my old bare ground through my tough Bermuda lawn sod, November 1st, 1 year anniversary with the sod. I don't know off the top of my head. We'd have to check the label, Moon Doggy, to know. I don't know off the top of my head if foxtails are covered by that. It's interesting. This year, it seems like a lot of people got that. Like there was more, I saw more of that in lawns in the neighborhood than I have in years past. It's weird with weeds. It's almost like they go through cycles, right? When they become more prevalent in a given season. Let's see. I'm checking the label here. Yeah, there you go. Foxtails. Yep, it is. It's on the label. So I'm looking here at the label for Prediamine, and foxtails are on there, Moon Doggy. So you'd be good to go. And again, I just put a link in the chat of where you can find Prediamine in case you need to get some at Moon Doggy. Right there. You can find it there. Just use the filters to just only look at pre-emergents, and then you're good to go. All right. Next up is Oliver Ridham. He's up next. He says, happy Friday, Ron. Order the GM 1600 shirt. Can't wait to sport it. Running errands this evening, so I won't be able to stick around. Have a great stream as always, sir. I really do appreciate that, Oliver. So you got the mower, and you also want to have the shirt to go along with the look. I get it, man. You want to look official, right? You want to look official. Nothing wrong with that. Remember, part of mowing is looking good too. You got to coordinate. got to coordinate. You want to make sure you're wearing the right shoes. You want to have, a good hat, good t-shirt. Make sure, you're looking the part when you're out there mowing your lawn, All right, William Leach is up next. He says, "Good evening, Ron. I am going to use Coastal this year as pre-emergent. That will also function. I'm going to use Coastal as a pre-emergent this year. That will also function as a post-emergent late winter. Do you have any experience with it? Any thoughts?" Yes, I do. So I've used Coastal in years past. Great product. In many ways, it's the closest that I have found in a pre-emergent that approaches the control against Poa annua that Spectacle Flow provides. It does not work as long as this. It doesn't have as long of a residual, but as far as a less expensive way of controlling Poa, keeping Poa out of your warm season lawn, it's a great option. So yeah, and to say it's a post-emergent, I mean it's really a pre-emergent. It's really two pre-emergents and a post-emergent that is decent against Poa. So depending on the weeds you have in your lawn, I wouldn't look at as Coastal so much as it's a broad spectrum post-emergent herbicide that's in that product. It's more so if you're trying to keep Poa out of your lawn, you've got two pre-emergents to try and suppress it from growing in the first place, and then you've got a post-emergent herbicide in a Mazaquin that has some control against Poa. So that's the way I would look at it from a post-emergent standpoint. It's definitely not a broad spectrum like Certainty would be or like Celsius would be. It's more so if you are trying to keep Poa out of your lawn, it's a good option for that. But yeah, I think you'll like it, man. It's a great product. So yeah, hopefully you enjoy it. All right, next up is Mark Romano. Mark, he says, "What do you think about molasses for soil and roots?" I don't think it can be a bad thing. It's gonna increase microbial activity, which is like the engine that makes the soil work, right? Makes our fertilizer work. So I can't see why it would be a bad thing. Mark, I've not ever applied a molasses product to my lawn myself, like a strictly molasses product. I use other products like Biospectra, which I don't have a bag of. Yeah, I do. I use this. I use this to get a lot of the benefits of like what molasses would provide because it mixes nicely. I can spray it along with all my other stuff. One of these, like this little bag, treats 2 to 3 acres, which is kind of nice. There's that. So yeah, if you already got it, I think there are some benefits to it. It's not going to hurt anything. All right, James Kelly is up next. Do I have anything else here? Actually, we have a couple of super chats I need to come get. Let's go do those really quick. I don't want to get on you guys' bad side. First one is from Mr. Luis Ayabareño.
Super chat received.
He said, "Mode joining late. Overseeding soon and planning on using the Yard Mastery Starter Fert, but got a hold of a liquid starter I've never used. Thoughts on liquid versus granular starter." If you're doing it as part of seeding, I would lean more towards granular, Luis. Reason being is this, right? The granular is going to stick around a lot longer. It's going to stay resident in the soil longer. So I think that's going to be a better option for the purpose that you're using it. If you already had a lawn or that's already growing and you need a bit of everything, a little bit of NPK, and you wanted to use a liquid, balanced fertilizer, like I wouldn't be opposed to that as much, but I still think granular for overseeding is the way to go, because you think about it, like most liquid, I don't know the liquid product you're talking about. Maybe if the liquid product is apply it and water it in, that would be okay. But again, granular is going to typically have a longer residual. It's going to feed for longer than liquids would. So that would be the only guidance that I would give you. Yeah, it sounds like you're on your way. Good job getting your mow in. So no problem with joining the live stream late. You are excused. We will forgive you. And if you need anything else, let me know. We got another super chat. This one from the Real Canuck.
Super chat received.
He says, "Hey Ron, it looks like your lawn was a lighter shade of green. When would you stop using iron to keep it dark?" Yeah, it is it does look a little bit lighter, doesn't it? You got me all self-conscious. You got me all self-conscious, the Real Canuck. I wouldn't consider that to be too bad. It's not like how it looks in June. I agree, but it's not bad. As far as when I would stop using iron, whenever you stop spraying your other liquids. So for me, it's more than likely going to be in the middle of October. But if you're applying your iron via liquid sprays, via foliar sprays, just have that in the tank along with your whatever fertilizer you're putting down. And whenever you stop doing that, stop spraying the iron as well too. You know. So yeah, hope that helps. Appreciate the super chat. All right, let me go back up to where I left off. The hardest part of running this whole outfit. All right, next we have James Kelly. James Kelly's up next. He says, I did overseeding, so I didn't put down any pre-emergent last winter. My grass didn't go dormant. Normally, if I overseed, I wait a year before any pre-emergent. What do you think about this spring? So you overseeded last year, no pre-emergent, and what do I think about doing pre-emergent in the following spring? I think you should do that. I think that'd be fine. Yeah. If I'm reading your question properly, James, you did pre-emergent last year. Yeah. So you overseeded last year, and you're asking now, should I do pre-emergent in the following spring? Yeah, that would be absolutely fine. Yeah, no worries with that at all. Yep, no worries. If you're concerned, you can always bias towards doing split applications and stay towards the lower end. Again, lower ends of the application rates for your particular grass type. That's a way to get yourself a bit more safe to increase the margin a little bit. But yeah, if it's been a year since the grass has been established and is growing in, and you're thinking about for this upcoming spring pre-emergent, then yeah, I would absolutely do that because yeah, I mean you waited long enough, and having to fight with weeds all the time is not a whole lot of fun. At least I don't find it fun. All right, next up, here James Kelly. Okay, next up we have who do we have here? Next up we have the real Canuck. Nope. Next up we have Nate Moore is up. He says, "Hey Ron, thank God it's Friday. I didn't put any tenacity down when I overseeded. Lots of broadleaf weeds coming in now with new grass. How long should I wait to kill those weeds?" I mean, it would have been better if you'd controlled them prior to the overseeding. Because here's why, Nate. Like, could you go out with a 3-way now and knock out a lot of the broadleaf weeds you have in your lawn? Yes, but if you have very young grass, I'm not a fan of spraying young grass or exposing young grass to herbicides. So it's really your call. If you can spot spray, then sure, go for it. But if it's where it's all throughout the entire lawn to where you're in the camp where you'd be blanket spraying, that's when I'd say you have to kind of pick which one do you care more about. And you went through all this trouble of overseeding the lawn to get it to thicken up. I would say let the lawn get established so you start mowing it, and then control the weeds once you feel confident that the newly overseeded grass is in good shape. I wouldn't be too quick to go out and spray herbicides on a brand new lawn. I think that would be a mistake. Dwayne Odom is up next. He says at the Earthwise 5-blade, just trying out real mowing, first time going less than 2 inches. Very, very cool, Dwayne. So you just got it. You know what? I think that qualifies for some applause. Congrats on the 5-blade. And yeah, and that's the thing. When you go out and you get yourself a manual reel mower, it's a great way to see if reel mowing is for you. And when I say reel mowing is for you, it's more so the time commitment, right? Because when it comes to reel mowing and to get your lawn looking its absolute best, you really got to commit to mowing at least twice per week. And as the height of cuts go lower, it becomes even more than that. So with the Earthwise, I would look at it and say, yes, it's going to cut better. It's going to produce a great cut compared to your rotary. But don't look at the cut that the Earthwise is producing and say, well, is this really worth it? And is this as good as it can get? Because really, it can get a lot better than that if you were to go to a powered reel mower. Use the Earthwise to see if reel mowing is something you just want to do. If something you enjoy doing, if something you can do over the long term, and then you could look into investing in a powered reel mower that's a good fit for your particular lawn, and then the sky's the limit. Then the quality of cut and the appearance of the lawn is going to be on another level. But it only really works if you're mowing regularly. So good stuff. Neil K says hi. Hello, Neil. Hopefully you're doing all right. Thank you for coming by to say hello. and he's doing fine. And let me see, you guys are having a sidebar back and forth. Guys, it might be a short live stream tonight. Keith Madison says, thanks for the shirt, Ron. Email sent along with some pictures. Very cool. Very nice, Keith. Let's see. So yeah, I've got you, Keith, from the live stream. I'm going to open up your email and put it over here so I don't forget it after the show is over, so I can email you back. And some pictures. He has some pictures of his lawn and video. Yeah, we got to do that. We got to show that off. Why not? Why not, Keith? We'll show some love here. We'll see. We'll show everyone what you're working with. Look at you. Look at you. Look at you Dutching in some of these pictures too, man. Look at you, man. You like Dutch angles, man. And whenever you take pictures, like you don't like things like squared up. All right. So this is his lawn. Looking good. Looking good. And then next we have another picture of his lawn. Again, Keith is apparently a fan of like Dutch angles because it's tilted. Looks cool. Looks like you got what you got going on there in the yellow in the lawn, Keith. Is this before and after? So if that was before, I would say the after is a lot better. Yeah, it almost looks like something was sprayed there. That's a problem, man. I would say it could be water, but that looks almost like some kind of a chemical problem. I don't know. We'll see. But this is definitely an improvement. So if this is the before, the after is better. So keep doing that. And then he also sent us a video because while pictures are good, video is, I would say, arguably better. And it's a tiny video, so I'm going to scroll in and scroll in and scroll in, and he's showing off the lawn now. Looking good. Wait, wait, hang on a second. Let's go back here. Where's Robert whenever you need him? Where's Robert whenever you need him? Because, I mean, I need to show him, Keith, in addition to having a good-looking lawn, if you look here, you can tell he's also a fan of those Georgia Bulldogs. Good man. Plus 10 points. And, yeah, overall, lawn looks good, man. Looks really nice. Nice work. Nice work. Yeah, I will reply to you after the show with how to get your t-shirt. So I appreciate that. Keith Madison, Q of the week. So I can make a note of that. All right, good stuff. All right, next up we have Kevin L. He says, I got my soil test results in trying to... let's see. I got my soil test in. I emailed them, trying to prep for next year. When my new mower shows up, I put down Carbon Pro G and Malo since the last test. Thoughts compared to results. I'll have to take a look at it once I get done with the show. If you are good with that, Kev. Actually, you know what? I found it. Actually, I found it right here, but it's a PDF. Dang it, Kevin! You're gonna make me convert stuff, man. Why are you doing that? Why are you making me work hard? Why are you making me do tech stuff here during the show? Why are we having a... yeah, actually I can't. I'm gonna have to open a preview to do that. It's kind of a hassle. All right, let's export real quick. And there you go. All right, cool. So yeah, we can look at this really quickly, Kevin. You know what? I'm gonna make this even better because I don't like how there's a lot of white space on this. It's gonna make it harder to read, and there's no reason to do that. So, all right. So this is Kevin's soil test results. And save and blah. Good. All right. So this is his soil test results. And what did you say you're doing? You said you did Carbon Pro G and Milo since the last test. So this is what he's working with. Okay. So... yeah, I mean, that will help. I mean, you got some, I mean, here's the thing. Milo doesn't have that much as far as macros go, so it's not necessarily the best option, in my opinion, for raising your macronutrient levels. It can work if that's what you want to decide you want to use. And it does have some iron, so it will help bring iron up. So yeah, I mean, if you've already got that, Kevin, then sure, that can work. The thing is that I find that Milo is not as good a deal as it used to be in years past. As a matter of fact, I think I have a video of this. Actually, I do. I'm going to see if I can bring this over because I was recently at Home Depot, Home Depot, and yeah, I'll show you guys this. I can make this go over. You guys can be patient with me for a second, right? Yeah, so I was recently at Home Depot buying a new hose because I messed my hose up. I hit it with the mower, not when it was running. I just kind of rolled over it and it damaged the hose, so I had to get a new one. And while it was there, of course, I browsed the fertilizer aisle and I went and saw, what's Milo going for these days. So this is yours truly at the Home Depot. And there you can see there's Milo, and the price is $25 a bag, which for Milo is quite expensive. You know what I mean? I remember when you could buy that fertilizer for 11. Sometimes you could find it on sale. It'd be in single digits. But at $25 a bag, just not a great deal. Kevin, if you want an organic, or you're looking for like more of an organic fertilizer that will not burn your lawn, a better option, in my opinion, I'm not just saying this because I sell it, but it's better value for money and frankly a better product overall, is the organic fertilizer from Miramichi Green. I mean, you've got it's a 444. You've got a microbial package in this. You've got calcium in it. It's got humate in it, so it's a biostimulant and fertilizer all in one. And if you look at the analysis again, you've got 9% calcium, some iron, some humate, and again a microbial package. And given how much this covers, you're gonna do better than you would with Milo at $26 a bag. So just something to consider if you're someone that likes that that particular type of product more. All right, so you can find it there if you are so interested. All right, next up is check here on the gram if we have anything else. We do not. You guys are getting quiet, man. You guys are getting quiet. Next up is Josh Rigdon. He says, I can't kill off Kalinga, use Certainty and Sedgehammer. What should I use instead? You should use Certainty. Like, Certainty will kill Kalinga. It absolutely will if it's sprayed at the proper rates. The thing I'd say, Josh, is when you used it, did you use surfactant along with it? So the way you get the best performance out of Certainty is to use this and this. So the surfactant helps the product adhere, helps it spread and coat the leaf of the plant better, and it helps it adhere to the plant leaf better, and you get a much better result. The rate that I like for Kalinga and for sedges with Certainty is 3 to 5 of the small scoops, depending on how mature the sedge or the Kalinga you're trying to control is, with 2 gallons of water. So 3 to 5 of the small scoops, 2 gallons of water, and then an ounce or so, not an ounce, a tablespoon or so of the spreader sticker, and that's going to produce a good result. Literally in a week or so, you should start seeing it yellow off, because this product works very well against sedges, against Kalinga. There's nothing else I would really recommend, because this is, in my opinion anyways, about as good as it gets for warm season turf anyway. Sedgehammer is a great option if you have a cool season lawn, but if you've got Bermuda, Zoysia, St. Augustine, Centipede, Bahia grass, you go with Certainty. So you've already got the right product. If you don't have any surfactant, pick some of that up to go along with it, and then I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with the results you get. And again, the rate that I like is 3 to 5 of the small scoops with 2 gallons of water, and I find that produces a good result. If you don't have surfactant and you need some, we have it here, and I will send you a link to it here in the chat, Josh. But yeah, I wouldn't switch to anything else, because you've already got the Mac Daddy for sedge control, in my opinion. So hope that helps. All right, next up we got James Smith. He says, maybe you could do a video showing your AccuGauge adjustments. I think it may be helpful for team lawn nuts. It's interesting you would ask for that, because I already have made that video. Now, can I find it is the question. Yeah, here we go. Got it right here. I got it right here. I got it right here, man. Let's see. So there's more than one of them. So there's one that I did for AccuGauge that they asked me to do, and there's one that I did for the channel. And I think this is the one for the channel. Nope, that's not the one for the channel. It's the other one. Of course, I guessed wrong. It's going to be the second one. It's going to be this guy. This guy right here. Yep, how to cut on a Greensmaster 16 on a Greensmaster mower. Really, it's any mower. But yeah, this is the one that you're going to want to check out. And it talks about how to use an AccuGauge. So at James Smith, not James Kelly, but James Smith, AccuGauge video. This one. Yep. And if you're interested, they also have a video on the groomer gauge. So for any of you guys that have real mowers with groomers on them, like if you have a Toro, like a Greensmaster that has a groomer, again, you really likely aren't going to be using that on residential lawns, not most people anyway. But if you want to know how to set one up and how to use the tool for setting the height of a groomer gauge, there's a video on that as well too. But I just linked you there in the chat, James. There's a video from a couple of years ago on how to use an AccuGauge, a video of me setting up the height of cut on my Greensmaster. You said Balun is a pre-emergent, not a good one, I guess. It doesn't matter. It might be a great one. I don't know. I don't know of every single pre-emergent in existence. I mean, I've just never heard of that one. Let's see. I've just never heard of Balun. What is in it? I'm sitting here searching real quick and see what the active ingredient. Benefin. Yeah, I've just never heard of it before, Joseph, until now. I would not say that it's not good. It's not familiar with it. I am not familiar with every single lawn care product in existence. If you find that you check the reviews that people have gotten good results with it, then you've already got some, then use it. But you were the first. I tell you, in all the years I've been doing YouTube and also been doing this live stream, I believe this is the first time anyone's ever mentioned that particular pre-emergent. So it might not be that it's not good. It may be more of a niche product, and just maybe perhaps just not as popular. You know what I mean? So it very well could be that. All right, let's see here. The unknown Mister says, "Hello, Ron." Hello. Let's see here. It says, "What seed do you recommend?" I get this question every single week. What seed do you recommend since I can't get Arden 15? There's not really one that I can recommend from direct experience. I can tell you that people that want to overseed or want to grow Bermuda grass from seed are using Monaco and Yukon, and they seem to be liking the results they're getting with it. So I don't have either one of those. I've never grown either one of those from scratch, but that's what a lot of people are going with now that you can't get Arden 15 anymore. So Monaco or Yukon, as far as where you can get it, if you check out Hancock Seed in Lakeland, Florida, a lot of times they have a pretty good selection of Bermuda grass seed. And just call them as well, because they may have something else in that you might that they might recommend. That's another choice too. No Name says, "What rate are you applying Essential G down?" I am doing so half a bag per 20 pounds per 1,000 when I'm starting the season out, and then on my lawn I use 4 bags, so it's like 10 pounds per 1,000, a little bit heavier than that, like 10 to 15 pounds per 1,000 is what it works out to. But the first app of the season, like when the lawn's coming out of dormancy, I give it a little heavier kick, give it a little extra. But on 10 pounds per 1,000, No Name. All right. Next we have Kyle. You know what? Cal Kelly. He says, "I also water 2 to 3 times per day, every day, and still watering." What are you referring to, Kyle? I don't see the other question that provides context to that, but okay. All right. Next up we have James Smith. James Smith. We're gonna have to call you like the beverage police. Let me see. How much more of this? I gotta finish this stuff up because I don't know how to drink it tomorrow. The James Smith, everyone. Sorry. The James Smith, everyone. The YOY. The YOY. He says, for a college, for drink mix, frat drink, swamp water, styrofoam cooler, 12 ounces of lemonade, frozen concentrate, 12 ounces of lemonade concentrate, 12 ounces of lime, 1 liter of Sprite, an entire bottle of Bacardi rum. Sounds like a lot of fun. Sounds like quite a bit. All right, James says, "Calling in light. See you next week." I appreciate you, James. Take care. And then he says, see you next week. Ron, I'll be in your area and the Real Roller Mower guys week of October 7th. Maybe another meetup. Yeah, if you're going to be around, just let Lee or let me know, or let Lee and those guys know when you're going to be there, and I can swing by. I don't live very far from Real Roller, so yeah, it'd be cool to meet you. Be cool to meet you. I can bring you like a proper. I can bring you a proper lemonade and say, hey, have this. It's fun. It's way more fun. All right. Next up, we have Cornell Grave or Grays. Okay, let's see that. Cornell Grays has a question. He says, what fungicide does it cause dead soil? Is it good to put down even if you don't know what fungus you have, or push the fungus out with nitrogen? Okay, so what fungicide causes? Okay, so the question you're asking, so Cornell Grace has a question. So what fungicide does it cause dead soil? I don't know what you mean about what fungicide causes dead soil. It should, they really shouldn't if you're applying them, I'm sorry, at the correct rates. If you're trying to prevent spring dead spot, azoxystrobin can do that. The product that I'm going to be using this year is a fungicide called Pillar SC. This guy here, it's a liquid, really easy to use. The application rate is 1 ounce per 1,000 square feet, so it's easy to measure out and apply. And then are you saying, or push the fungus out with nitrogen? No, I would not do that. I would not. While for some lawn diseases, adding a bit of nitrogen can help the lawn heal from it once the disease is under control. So when I say that, I mean, you apply fungicide, you arrest the spread of, like, say, we'll use like large patch example. So you get a lawn that's got large patch in it. I would not take a lawn that has large patch and then go and do an application of nitrogen as a way to correct the large patch problem. What I would do is you could use a fungicide, apply fungicide that is going to arrest the spread of large patch. It's going to halt it. And then if you're going to be fertilizing the lawn a week or two later, that is going to help the lawn to grow, like the area that was damaged by it, to help it to heal and recover from it, to help that area that was damaged to bounce back. But it's not like applying nitrogen is going to get rid of the fungus and get rid of the disease. You see what I'm saying? So yes, it can be helpful once it's controlled, but it's not like you would use a nitrogen app to get rid of large patch or get rid of dollar spot. Dollar spot's a bad example because most Bermuda lawns that have enough nitrogen don't have dollar spot, but still, that nitrogen is not curing it. It's preventing the disease from being a problem in the first place in that particular grass type. So I would try and get away from the idea that nitrogen is a way to cure a disease in your lawn. The way to control that is using a fungicide. Once the lawn disease that you're dealing with is under control, then yes, fertilizer can help the grass heal from the damage that the disease that was present, that no longer is, that it caused. So you see what I'm saying? So there's a little subtlety there. It does have a place, but it's not getting rid of the disease per se. So I hope that helps, Cornell. Next, we have a question on Instagram for Johnny Pilot 97. He says, hey, Ron, what do you recommend for a height of cut for turf type tall fescue before winter? That's a tough one. I don't have a fescue lawn, so I can't say. I don't know what you guys typically do with your fescue, with your fescue lawns as far as height of cut changes. I wouldn't cut it as short. I wouldn't cut it like, super short or outside the range of what you would normally keep fescue at. With Bermuda, I can tell you, I keep mine at 3/4 of an inch. And I keep it that height year round. You know what I mean? So I don't let my Bermuda grow much longer in the winter than I do when the height of it's at in the spring and the summer months. If you're going to do anything, letting it grow out a little bit is what I would lean more towards. But as far as telling you, cut it at 4.5 inches or cut it at 3 inches, I'm not going to be able to tell you that because I don't have a fescue lawn, so I'm really not sure. I'd say an important thing, Johnny, probably more important than the height of cut that you choose for your fescue, is over the winter months, as much as you can keep debris off the lawn, that's what's really going to set you up for success in the spring. So if you get snowfall, clearing the snow is going to be good. If you get if you in the fall, we're in the fall months now, so if you have a lot of leaves that are falling, being due to autumn, don't let leaves and that kind of stuff sit on the lawn for a long period of time. Like, clear that stuff off. If you do that, you're going to be in a pretty good spot. I mean, you can also look at applying a preventative fungicide in the fall. Again, that's that cheap insurance against like snow mold, pink, just some of the diseases that tend to happen, that cool season turf tends to be more susceptible to in the cold months. But as far as height of cut, I don't think you really are going to need to make a huge change off of the height of cut that you normally keep the lawn at. You're certainly not going to be cutting it, very super short like how I do on my Bermuda lawn. So hope that helps, sir. Sorry, I can't give you like an exact use this height of cut, but I don't think that's really the most important thing that you want to be looking at or paying attention to going into the fall. Like keeping the lawn debris free is a better thing to focus on than than drastically altering the height of cut of your turf type tall fescue lawn. So hope that helps. David Hollingsworth says, finally checked back in. I posted lemonade recipe earlier, and I used a lemon squeezer to squeeze the lemons and limes. They're like $5 at Walmart. Okay, like I got you. Makes sense. But here's the thing, David, with like, how was it? 12 limes, 14, a bunch of lemons, a bunch of limes. By the time I add all that up, wouldn't I be just good enough just going out and buy like a gallon of the Chick-fil-A lemonade? I mean, that's like $12. I mean, it's got to be close, right? Like everything's so much more expensive now. I don't know what a bag of lemons costs, but between a bag of lemons, a bag of limes, and my time, there's that. I don't know. I'm not sure if that's worth $12. I don't know. All right, next up is AR Kazi or I can't know. I think it's Kazi. I'm gonna go with that. So AR Kazi says, I'm in North Texas and have part of my grass on a slope. This part went brown after I closed the house. I did water 1.25 inches per day. Per week. Per week. Only the grass on the slope is problematic. What to do? So it could be that given that it's on a slope, AR, water tends to have a harder time staying on sloped lawns, right? Just kind of like physics, it just runs off of it. So what I find produces a good result is, you didn't tell me how you're getting the 1.25 inches of water on the lawn. What you might try is this. If you're doing like a single irrigation cycle, like you're running that zone that covers the slope area once per week, try putting the same amount of water on the lawn, but try doing it 2 or 3 times in the week. So instead of watering just once per week, try watering 2 or 3 times per week. If you're already watering 2 or 3 times per week, try this. Try running whatever your current irrigation cycle is for that part of the lawn. You can try increasing it slightly and seeing if that helps improve things. But it sounds to me that area, it's just not getting enough water. And given that it's a slope, I'm not surprised. Again, perfect example. Like my back lawn, I can run like the zones are 24, 25, and 25, right? So as far as the time that it runs, whereas the front lawn, it's like 10 minutes. So I run like a 10-minute cycle, and then I'll run another 10-minute cycle because I can't put 20 minutes of water on the front lawn, or I'm just going to be watering the street. Like literally, it can't hold or absorb that much water given the slope that's on the lawn. So with slopes, you have to be a little bit more creative with your watering strategy, and that you may have to do multiple cycles, even in the same day. So you may run 10 minutes at 4 a.m. and then run another 10 minutes at 6 a.m. That way you water it gives it an opportunity to soak in, and then you water it again. So you're not just having a bunch of runoff. And just try playing with it. Try playing with the amount of time that it runs, and then how often you're watering that particular area, and see if that helps it improve. Because without seeing anything else, it sounds like it's a water issue or a lack of water issue, given that it sounds like the rest of the lawn is okay. All right, David Collinsworth is next. He says, I also have a genuine question versus a disingenuous question, David. He says, I have a small ditch in my backyard behind a fence. Grass always got fungus. So I nuked it. Would you recommend mulch or rocks for ground cover? Rocks or mulch for ground cover? Either one can work. The things for rocks, the benefit to going with rocks is that they don't really wear out. You know what I mean? You don't have to replace it nearly as often. The thing for mulch is mulch depending on your preferences, some people think that mulch will look better, but you're going to be replacing it a couple of times, at least once per year, maybe twice in a season. So it requires more maintenance than rock does. Either one will work well. Yeah, for an area that you're not going to that you don't really care about, that you're not going to really see, maybe just rock, man. Maybe just do like rock with some kind of decorative stones or something, because again, mulch is not going to be a one and done type thing, whereas stones will. So with stones, a couple times a year, you may have to go out there and spray any weeds that are trying to grow through like the cracks in the rock or whatever. That may be the maintenance thing from a standpoint of using rocks, but it's less maintenance, and it can look good if you get some nice decorative ones. So it's really your call, David. Either one can work. I wouldn't be mad at you either way. Just realize that mulch is going to be more maintenance than stone would be. All right, let's see here. And then James Smith has a tip for Nate. He says, put your post-emergent herbicide on a paper towel and wipe the broadleaf weeds. Limits getting any on the new grass. That's an option. Depends, Nate. I was also telling you if it's in concentrated areas, you can spot spray. That's an option. And what you're saying is an option too. But depends, man. If it's all throughout the lawn, that's a whole lot of wiping on the leaves of weeds. That might be difficult. What you might end up just doing is just holding your nose, just letting it do its thing, let the weeds grow until the lawn is more established, and then taking care of it. Or you could also just do the all natural approach and just pull it. You can manually pull them depending on what kind of weeds you're dealing with. Okay, the Real Canuck says, when is it okay to use tenacity or mesotrione? Only before the seed sprouts, or you can use it again after the grass matures. Yes, you can. A lot of people use tenacity as a specialty herbicide as part of overseeding, which it's great for. But yes, you can also use it afterwards too. So it's also a good post-emergent herbicide. So yes, either way, you can use it as part of a seeding project, and you can also use it after seeding once the lawn is established to control weeds in your lawn. It can be used both. Can be used both ways. It's more of a kind of a specialty product. A good example, like tenacity, like it. A good example of where it's useful in warm season grass anyway, as a post-emergent, is if you have, say, a centipede lawn, right, and you have crabgrass that you're trying to control. Like tenacity is a great option for controlling crabgrass in centipede, because the herbicide that you would normally use for controlling crabgrass in a warm season lawn, like or any grass really, would be like quinclorac, but both St. Augustine and centipede don't tolerate quinclorac very well. So in that case, tenacity uses a pre-emergent. Again, tenacity mixed with a surfactant and sprayed on the weed you're trying to target works well. So it can be used both ways. It's kind of a flexible herbicide in that way. It can be used as a post-emergent and pre-emergent. Just depends on what problem you are trying to solve. That is it. All right, here we go. Next up, we got BTBJ says, hey, Ron, I live in Michigan, and I want to know, when is a good time to start mowing every other week due to fall and winter coming? Whenever the grass growth slows down. So the idea behind keeping the lawn looking its best is you don't want to take off more than a third the height of cut in a single mowing session. So as it gets cooler and the lawn starts to grow more slowly, then you can increase your mowing intervals. You know what I mean? So the lawn's going to tell you. So for example, I was mowing my lawn every other day, and I've been doing that really since April. And now, as slow as it's growing, I could probably go every 3 days and mow it, and it'd be just fine, because that current interval of every other day isn't really necessary, because the grass just isn't growing that fast. So as it begins to slow down, that is when you can begin stretching out your intervals. I don't know. Every other week is a bit long for my taste. I could see going from like twice per week to once per week, and then maybe once every 10 days. I could see that, but I don't, going once every 2 weeks, that's a bit of a stretch for me. But yeah, the lawn will tell you as it slows down, as it gets cooler and the lawn grows slower. That is when you can increase the intervals of when you put a mower on the lawn. So hope that helps. Hope that helps, BTBJ. It's a good question. I like it. All right, next up is Colin Stageberg. He says, what reel mower would you recommend for a newbie? So for someone that's new for reel mowing, I typically will tell folks to go out and get a manual push reel mower. So Earthwise makes a 5-blade and a 7-blade. I think Scott's also sells the same mower as a 7-blade. That's a good option for someone that's going to get into reel mowing. So the Scott's or the Earthwise 5 to 7-blade reel mower, if you're looking for something that is economical and really is just a way for you to see if reel mowing is for you. If you're looking for a powered reel mower, depending on your budget, you could look at like a True Cut trimmer, McLean, or the new Revolution. If you're buying a brand new mower out of those four, the Revolution 26 from Real Rollers is the one that I would buy. That's absolutely the one I would go with. The other mowers are available pre-owned because they've been out for a while. There's not really any used Revolutions as yet, so those you can buy for $1,000-ish in pretty good shape. So for a push reel mower, expect to spend $150-ish or so dollars. For a pre-owned McLean trimmer True Cut, expect to spend around $1,000. And then if you're going brand new, between McLean trimmer, True Cut, what else is like just a cutting mower, Rolux, or the Revolution. For me, my money would be on the Revolution. So I hope that helps, Colton. It's yeah, you really can't go wrong. There's so many different ways of answering this question. It really just depends on: are you looking for new? Are you committed to it? In other words, are this is something you absolutely want to do, and you're just ready to skip the manual reel mower and go into the powered one? In which case, you can save some money. I mean, I think Real Rollers on the Revolution until sometime in October. You have to call them and ask them. But they're running a special right now, like a pre-order where you could save like $500 off the mower if you order it before sometime in October. So give them a call, and yeah, and that would be the way I would go about it. Oh, and he gave me some more context. He says, what gas-powered reel mower would you recommend for a newbie for the start of next year? The Real Rollers Revolution 26. That is what I would tell you to buy. If you're going to be buying a brand new one, that's what I would say to buy. If you're buying a pre-owned mower, again, True Cut trimmer, McLean. Of those three, True Cut, I used to say True Cut, but getting partial True Cuts is kind of a pain now. Assuming you have a mower that's in good shape that is not going to need parts, then True Cut, then a pre-owned True Cut. Yeah, but if you're buying brand new, then the Revolution 26 from Real Rollers is what I would say to go with. All right. Robert Wallace is up next. He says, hey, Ron, I'm here. Go Bulldog. You know, Robert, you are embracing the dogs, man. I realize we haven't really played anybody yet, but I'm glad to see that you're getting away from, back in Clemson or wherever that team is in South Carolina that is not Georgia, and you're coming around, man. I'm glad to see that you're seeing the light of embracing the Georgia Bulldogs. Everyone around here is wondering, hey, are they going to be able to do a third year? Here's the thing. I love Georgia. I really hope that the Bulldogs do it. I don't see it, man. I don't feel like it's going to happen like this. Even in these first couple of games, we didn't really play any teams that were that great, and the showing was not good. Was not not where it should have been. Now they might get better as time goes by, but I don't know, man. A three-peat might not be in the cards for Georgia. And any of you Georgia fans, you guys can screenshot this or this part of the video, and you can throw it in my face if they win another national championship. But I just don't feel like it's going to happen this year. I don't feel like it's going to happen. You never know, Robert. It might be your team. Might be the Tigers. Might be them. All right. So next we have BTBJ. He says, what is the best way to treat grubs in Michigan during the fall and winter? So in the fall and winter, so in the fall, what I would use is an insecticide called Acelepryn. So this guy right here. And really, to control grubs, you want to do it. The time to control grubs, BTBJ, is really in springtime. So like in April-ish time frame is when I would get your insecticide down. So you would do an application in spring, like April-ish, and then you would do another one in late July, early August. And that's going to do a great job as far as keeping grubs, armyworms, and whatnot out of your lawn. This is the insecticide that I'd recommend. So if you want to know where you can find that, you can go to the Golf Course Lawn Store, go to shop, and then go to fungicide, insecticide, and in there you will see, we'll even sort by insecticide, you'll see Acelepryn is available as a granular and as a liquid. Both of them work equally well. The liquid is my personal favorite because it gives you easier control over application rates. But either one of these two are going to perform just fine as far as what you're trying to do as far as control grubs in your lawn. And to help you out, I will send you a link here to where you can grab it, so that way you don't even have to go search. I'm going to make it even easier. So BT, BJ, and insect. I'm going to say acelepryn. Acelepryn. We like it. There you go. Hope that helps, sir. Hope that helps. If you need anything else, let me know. I say, sir. It could be ma'am. Well, but hopefully that helps. Just let me know if you need anything else. All right, Derek Higdon is up next. He says, new Bermuda sod, but need to know how to kill weeds but not grass. Well, you are in luck, Derek. For killing weeds and not killing grass in Bermuda, I am a fan of a combination of two herbicides and along with some helpers. And those two herbicides are Celsius, which is a broadleaf herbicide, kills broadleaf weeds, and then Certainty, which is a specialty herbicide that really is designed to control sedges, also has excellent control against poanua and other difficult to control weeds that Celsius does not. These two can be mixed together and doing a great job cleaning up weeds in a Bermuda, Zoysia, St. Augustine lawn without injuring your grass in the process. So where can you find it? If you go to shop and then you go to weed killer, we actually have a kit that includes Celsius, includes Certainty, includes surfactant. The reason why this is important is because surfactant helps these products coat the leaf of the weeds you're trying to target better. It helps them do a better job. So you really want to use surfactant along with Celsius and Certainty for best results. And then also the kit has a marker dye. So you get Celsius, Certainty, spreader sticker, and a marker dye. And this is enough to cover over 2 acres. Like, you're going to buy this and you're going to be good for years as far as herbicide goes. And in addition, there is a video here that shows you how to kill weeds and not your grass using this combo. So I show you, there's multiple ways of mixing this combination, but I show one way that I like to do it that produces great results, and I share with like countless other people, and they have great results as well too. So if you're interested in that, if I've sold you on the benefits of Celsius and Certainty as the post-emergent blend for your worm season lawn, then I'll get you the link here and you can go watch the video and you can decide if it is for you. I think you will like it. It's a great herbicide option or herbicide blend for controlling weeds in warm season grass that, again, does exactly what you want. Kills weeds, it doesn't kill your grass. And the nice thing about those two is that you can spray them over a broad temperature range. So right now when the temperatures are relatively mild, low 70s, maybe, low 80s, 70s, and then trending cooler, you can still use Celsius and Certainty with great results. When it's summertime and it's hot, 90s, you can still spray with these two, and you're going to get great results. As a matter of fact, in the video that you'll see whenever you go watch that in the product description, that video was shot in July when temperatures were in the high 90s, and it didn't injure the grass. It did a great job. So I think you'll like it. Again, great combination. And the people that I've recommended it to that have used it have really enjoyed the results they've gotten with it. So let me know if you need anything else, sir. Let me know if you need anything else. Great question. Great question. You know what, Derek? I'm going to make a note of that one because that was such a good question. We might turn it into a short. Why not? All right. Next up, we got Kevin L. He's a soil cube recommendation results suggested Milo. Should I follow the recommendations? You can. If you want to use Milo, you can. I'm just saying that you could use Milo or you could use the fertilizer that I linked to you. Of the two, I would use the one that I linked to you, that one. And it's not because I sell it. It's because it's a better product for one. It's a truly organic product, and you're getting better value for what you're spending. So for that reason, for all those reasons, is why I would go with that over Milorganite. It's going to produce better results for you. All right, Paul Stevens says, how soon can you use Primo on new turf, champ? Okay. how soon can you use Primo on YouTube? As soon as you start, you're mowing it, Paul. So as soon as you are mowing the lawn, it's established, you could begin introducing Primo. Here's what I would recommend: is don't, like, whenever you look at the label, the application rates for this product, the application rates in the label are gonna give you rates that assume you're spraying it once per month, once every 3 to 4 weeks. And I would not recommend that you do it that way. What I would say is whatever the application rates are for your particular grass type, take that number and cut it in half and spray it every couple of weeks. The nice thing about that is if you do it that way, you're going to slowly introduce the growth regulator to the plant. The chances of you getting any kind of tip burn or discoloration are going to be drastically reduced, and you're still going to get just as good control, right? Or just as good regulation, rather. Like, it's still going to work just as well by spraying every couple of weeks. As a matter of fact, on that topic, we have a blog post on Primo that I will share with you, Paul. I think it's on page 2 at this point. Yep. How plant growth regulation can help your lawn thicker and greener. And if you go down to split application rates for Primo, I've done the work for you. So there's a section on how to avoid tip burn using growth regulator. But then below that is a small section that has the split application rates for your particular grass type. So the rates that you would use if you were spraying it every 2 weeks. And if you're doing it this way, I wouldn't be opposed to you introducing that to, a new lawn, as long as you're already mowing it, the lawn's established, like, you feel comfortable walking on it, and again, you're mowing it regularly and everything. Then yeah, if you want to introduce growth regulator, by all means, go for it. Just start on the low end of the application rates and then work your way up. It does not take a whole lot of this stuff to produce a great result. The biggest mistake that people make when they use growth regulator is that they look at the bottle and they say, for example, let me see if I can actually do this real quick. Like, for example, for Bermuda, the monthly application rate for a hybrid, believe it or not, is a quarter of an ounce, so 0.25 ounces. This is per month. That's for a month over 1,000 square feet. So if you're doing it the way that I would say, you're going to take that and you're going to be spraying roughly 0.13, 0.12 and a half ounces. So you take this and cut it in half. And the problem that most people have when they start getting into using growth regulator is they look at that tiny amount and they say, there's no way that could possibly work. I'm going to use more. And that is where you get into trouble. So as long as you stick with the application rates, you'll be just fine. It doesn't take a lot to get a great result with Primo. And hopefully my explanation and my logic around introducing it at low rates and then slowly ramping up makes a lot of sense. And hope that helps you out. So this is a link to that blog post, Paul. And I think that will get you all squared away as far as getting a good result when using Primo Max Growth Regulator. Miss Floyd says, how to kill weeds and winterize. So how to kill weeds, use a herbicide, a post-emergent herbicide that is correct for your grass type. So if you have cool season grass, let me get here really quick. Let's go. If you have a cool season lawn, you can use Tenacity and Sedgehammer. That's a good blend for cool season grass that you're unlikely to injure your lawn using those two herbicides. If you have warm season grass, Celsius and Certainty. So there's two kits. There's a cool season kit for cool season lawns. There's a warm season kit for warm season lawns. As far as how to winterize your lawn, the things that I would say are do a fungicide application and then use a higher potassium fertilizer to close out the season. That, believe it or not, Miss Floyd, actually, I'm gonna help you out here. I'm gonna do two things. So first, thing one, this is where you can find your herbicides. So this is going to take care of weed control. Let's say weed control. There you go. So particularly based on your grass type. And then as far as how to winterize your lawn, if you go to resources and blog, we have a brand new blog post on that very topic, on managing diseases, on managing diseases on your lawn, getting your lawn ready for the end of the season. The long short of the matter, like I've already given you the answer to the test, is to use a fungicide and then use a higher potassium fertilizer to close out the season. So fungicide, liquid, go with a Pillar SC. If you want a granular, go with Headway, and then use a higher potassium fertilizer like the 12024 to close out the season. That's going to put your lawn in a good place to, one, prevent diseases and damage, and provide it nutrients to survive the winter months. And there's also other cultural practices as far as like keeping debris out of the lawn, managing thatch levels, that kind of stuff that's in that article as well. So I will send you that, and then you're good. So you got how to take care of weeds and how to winterize, all in one article. You're on your way. All right. I think we are good with that one. Next up is BT. BJ says, how often should I sharpen my residential mower blade if I cut a 3,000 square foot lawn once per week? Thanks for the great info. So for a real mower, you'll know if it stops cutting paper, and whenever you try and adjust the reel to bed knife tolerances, if you try and like to tighten it up a little bit and it's still not cutting paper, that's when you know you need to get sharpened. When it comes to a rotary mower, you'll be able to tell based on how the tips of the grass look. If you get down, you look at the grass and the grass tips look torn or frayed, that's a sign that the mower is hacking at the grass more so than cutting it. So, at least once per season. I mean, people that are really serious about it, sharpen their blades monthly. So it depends also, BT, on if you're only cutting grass, if you're running over pine cones, if you're mowing a wet lawn versus if you're mowing a dry lawn. But the grass will tell you. Get a piece of glass, get a grass that's been cut or one that's not been cut, and pick it up and look at it and look at the tips. It should be a relatively straight and clean cut. If it's straight and clean, you're still sharp and you're good to go. If it's frayed or torn, it's time to sharpen your mower. That's the best way to know when a mower needs resharpening when it comes to rotary. So hope that helps. That's a good question. That's a good one. The size of the lawn, I mean, yeah, you'd think that a smaller lawn technically should need sharpening less frequently because you're not running the equipment on it as much. But the best advice I could tell you is mow dry grass. Mow dry grass, that's thing one. And only mow grass. Like, don't run over sticks, twigs, rocks. Don't run over other garbage that's in the lawn. That's going to help the blade maintain an edge for longer, and then just pay attention to the grass. The grass will tell you when you need to either replace and or sharpen your mower blade. So it's a good one. That's a really important question. It's one of the best questions that we've gotten tonight, BT, because like nothing is going to have a bigger influence on how your lawn looks than how sharp your mower is. Like, you can be fertilizing it, you can be doing a good nutrient program. If you're cutting the lawn with a dull mower or with dull blades, it's going to be tearing up the grass, and it's just not going to look good. It's going to, like, the tips of the grass are going to be frayed and brown and discolored, and it's going to be more prone to having disease problems. So outside of a good nutrient program, like, the most important thing to having a great lawn is mowing frequently with sharp equipment. And that last part with sharp equipment is an important point. So great question. William Leach is up next. He says, is it best to spray herbicides when the grass is slightly damp, or should it be dry? Doesn't really matter. I mean, if it's dry, you're less likely to have runoff, but if it's slightly damp, it doesn't really matter either way, William. I've done both, and I've gotten great control with both methods. The big thing is if you use surfactant along with whatever post-emergent herbicide you're using, that's going to help improve the results that you get. So yeah, dry or wet, it doesn't matter too much, as long as probably more important than whether the grass is dry, slightly damp, or dry, is that you're using the proper spray tips. If you're using a spray tip that produces a fine droplet, that is more important than the grass being completely dry or having a little bit of moisture like it has in the morning whenever there's dew on the lawn. So yeah, good question. And as far as a spray tip, if you're wondering, well, what spray tip should I be using for spraying foliar, I will help you really quick. This one right here is the one that that I recommend. It's one from T-Jet. It's I forget the model number, but it is this guy, which I'm going to link to you in the chat right now. All right, William Leach and foliar spray tip. That one. That's what I would go with. Yep. So yeah, that's a little bit damp, dry. Doesn't really matter. I mean, you'll be okay. As long as you're using the right spray tip, right droplet size. That's a bigger influence than know whether the lawn is completely dry or not. All right, William Leach. Okay, next up we have Joe Will. He says, Ron, are you using atrazine on your lawn? If so, what brand? No, I'm not. I would not want to put atrazine on my Bermuda lawn. They would not like it. Would not like that. And there's different types, so I can't really recommend one. I want to say the people that make high yield, that make this also have an atrazine product. They have one. Spectracide has an atrazine product. I mean, there's tons of different ones out there, but I don't have a lot of direct experience with atrazine because my grass type, I wouldn't want to spray atrazine on it. Let's see here. So Jake S is up next. He says, I asked a question a few weeks back about adding grass clippings to garden compost. You mentioned you run it by some people you know. Any ideas if it's safe to you? If it's safe to add, if I use occasionally herbicides and primo often. Yeah. So as a general rule, Jake, if you anything you're going to eat, I would refrain from introducing any kind of herbicide, growth regulator, any of those. In other words, if anything you spray on the lawn that is not labeled for use on edible products, which is not a whole lot, like pretty much nothing. I'm trying to think here, outside of some of the Miramichi liquids and the organic granular, though pretty much everything else is really designed for turf, but not for gardens, not for stuff you're actually going to eat. So I would refrain from doing that. I would not take the clippings. If you're just trying to be safe, I wouldn't take clippings that were sprayed with herbicide or with growth regulator and use that in your compost garden. Here's the thing. It would, like the answer I got from the research that I reached out to said it's more than likely going to be fine because by the time it decomposes, there's not going to be a whole lot of residual going into the soil. But if you're really trying to be safe, just err on the side of caution and don't do it. So yeah, don't. I would just stay away from that. All right, next up is John K. Powers. First off, we have a question here on the gram from Real Hopeful. Says, how can you get grass to grow under a shade tree? Depends on the kind of grass you have. The best answer is choose the right grass type. If you're using like a fine fescue, that will do well in shaded areas. If you're dealing with a warm season grass like Bermuda, it's not going to happen. Like Bermuda will not grow well in shade. It needs lots of direct sunlight. And by direct, that I mean like from the sun directly to the grass. So not like going through leaves, not going through trees, not any kind of filtered light, like direct sunlight. Zoysia does a little bit better than Bermuda as far as shade, but it still needs sunlight to do its direct sunlight to do its absolute best. So for depending on how much shade you have, that is when you'd want to go to like a fescue of some sort because those are fairly shade tolerant. Okay, John K. Powers is up next. He says, happy Friday, Ron. First season in a new home. Yay for that. Congrats. Actually, I got to finish drinking the James Smith. I got to get rid of this stuff. Yard is dense, hard clay, and no topsoil. Any suggestions on improvements to make it better for turf? I'm planning on aeration and top dressing this fall. Sure. So it sounds like you're doing a lot of the right things. So aeration is a great way to help relieve compaction. And then as far as improving soil quality, if you go to our biostimulant section, go to shop and go to Miramichi biostimulants, go with Essential G, man. Like you can go with either one of these. You can go with Essential G or you can go with carbonized PN. Essential G is easier to spread because it's a prill. So you can use like your broadcast spreader, your Earthway, your Scott's, whatever spreader you have. You can use this to spread it. Carbonized PN is also an excellent choice, but it's more of a soil product. So you need like a leveling rake or some way to manually move it and evenly distribute it over the lawn. So most people find that Essential G is easier to work with than carbonized PN. They're both excellent, both work well. I would try and point you more towards Essential G, especially after you're done with your aeration, right? So get your aeration done, and that's a great time to go heavy with Essential G, 20 pounds per 1,000 square feet, even heavier if you want to. And that's going to, while the core aeration is going to help relieve compaction, you're going to also be putting like a really rich compost and biochar product into the soil, which is going to help improve the quality overall. So that is what I would go with, John. That's how I would do it. And if you want a link to where you can find Essential G, it is right there. So yeah, good stuff, man. Congrats again on the new house. And let's see, 2 Can Sam says, how long on average does it take a lawn to recover from grub damage on average? It's hard to say. It depends on the extent of it. It's hard to say. Weeks to on extensive damage, it could be over a month. It could be 4 to 6 weeks to see any like noticeable improvement. It depends on the extent of the damage. It depends on how healthy the lawn is outside of the damage caused by the grubs. So if you have a good nutrient program going on, the lawn is otherwise healthy, like the soil is in otherwise great shape, other than the damage from the grubs. Within a couple of weeks, you should see a noticeable improvement. But if you have a lawn that's been neglected, and in addition to being damaged by the insects, that your nutrient program isn't also where it needs to be, that's where it can take substantially longer to see improvement. So it really depends on, again, the state of the lawn, the quality of the lawn as it is prior to the damage from the grubs. So there's not really an average I can tell you. I can tell you this much: between 2 to 6 weeks. So that range, that's the kind of range depending on how good a shape the soil is, and then by extension how good a shape the lawn, how good a shape the soil is, which will influence how quickly the grass can recover from damage. So yes, I hope that helps, Toucan Sam. It's hard to give an average without knowing all those other factors. AE Lawn Care says hello. Why, hello AE. Hopefully you're doing all right. Thanks for coming to hang out. And off-topic question, he says, what microphone and headset are you using, and do you use them at work? So the microphone that I'm using is it's one from. So I'm a big fan of Shep's microphones. So it's actually a really good microphone. It's the mini CMIT, so the mini CMIT. You cannot run this like directly into your computer. You need to have like an amp, like a preamp, or in this case I've got like an audio recorder, a mixer recorder that's powering this. So you can see it here. That is the microphone that I'm using. So it's a mini shotgun mic that I like. I like the way it sounds. I like the way my voice sounds with it. I would say it's a good looking or it's a good sounding, a great sounding microphone. If you want one, this one sounds a bit more a bit richer, a little more, I don't want to say bassy. It's a bit warmer tone than my voice actually sounds like. Probably the best sounding, like the purest sounding microphone that I own is this one, which is another one from Shep's. This is the CMC 46. This guy here, let me go here. This guy, if you want a microphone that sounds like there is no microphone, or it sounds like how your voice sounds, then this is the one that you'd want to go with. The reason why I like the shotgun is if there's any noise or anything, this rejects sound coming from anywhere. So pretty much no matter how noisy it really is, you don't really hear it. And yes, this is the exact same thing that I use at work. Like where you see me now, this is the same mic I use whenever I'm doing work stuff on conference calls or whatever. And yeah, and I get the question pretty often. It's like, hey, what kind of mic? Your audio sounds great. What kind of microphone are you using? And I'm like, it's a really good one. You're probably not going to buy it unless you're really an audiophile or you have some way to justify it. But yeah, it's a mini CMIT from Shep's, and it's going into a Sound Devices recorder. It takes all of it. It takes the microphone, good cable, good recorder, and all that to make it work. All right, next up is John Williams. He says, what kind of prep should I do when laying down sod? Oh, I like this question. What kind of prep should I do when laying down sod, and when is it too late for me to lay down sod, centipede in Savannah, Georgia? Thanks. Also tried Chick-fil-A Diet Lemonade, game changer. Hope that helps. LOL. So this is Diet Lemonade, John. So before I answer your question, this right here, like this Lemonade, this is half diet and half of like the good stuff. And it's okay, it's good, but the aftertaste is what I don't like about it. Versus this, so we got two. We did like a taste test because James Smith kept harassing me about lemonade. So this is as it was intended, and then this is diet and half. So it's like half diet and then half this. So I tried it. It's okay. I like the original recipe better. So there we go. Now, as far as your question, what kind of prep to do whenever you're laying down sod? Either apply Essential G or carbonized PN. It's going to help the sod root in faster. It's going to help it establish faster. So as far as that goes, same answer I gave the other gentleman. So you can go with Essential G if you prefer a granular, or if you prefer something you can spread using a rake, then carbonized PN is a good choice. I mean, very, very pure stuff. You can see how it looks. There's no debris, no garbage, no trash in this. Spreads evenly using your leveling rake. And, you know, after years of using this product, of using this and also Essential G on my lawn, you know, when I had some sprinklers replaced, you can see what it does to the soil profile. So this is the original, the light part up here, which is the deepest part, is what my soil originally looked like. Years of using Essential G, using granular biostimulants, that's what you get. So you see how nice and dark and rich that is, which by extension produces great grass. So you want great grass, create great soil, because great grass is a byproduct of great soil. So Essential G or carbonized PN is what I would say, John. I'll send you a link here to where you can find both of them, and then you'll be good to go. Most people will go for the you know, they'll go for either one is going to work fine. But if you have a way to spread it, carbonized PN is not is a good way to go. But again, either one of them are going to produce a great result for you. So there you go, at John Williams, and that's where you can find that. That's where you can find them. All right. And as far as when to lay down sod in Savannah, Savannah's near the ocean. So, I mean, really year round. I mean, if you can be patient and do it in the spring, that is like when you're entering the beginning of the season, when the lawn is going to, you know, when it'll begin growing more aggressively and it'll root in faster. But to put it in perspective, my lawn was sodded in December. And so, and where I am, the temperatures are more extreme than what you have in Savannah. I mean, you guys are right next to the ocean, so it doesn't, I mean, it gets cold, but it doesn't get like really, really cold. You know what I mean? So if you wanted to get it installed now, I think it would be just fine. It just really depends on like how patient you want to be. Either way is going to work well. Carbonized PN or Essential G, I would incorporate that into your process. As far as how you would do that is, you would get you get the lawn, the area graded, get it nice, as smooth as you can. Apply Essential G or carbonized PN, and then put the sod on top of that. So you're going to sandwich the Essential G or carbonized PN between the sod and the existing soil, the existing dirt, and that's going to help you with helping the grass establish faster. It's going to help it root in faster. All right, let's see here. See what else we have going on. Sydney Cole says, what's the risk of applying Spectacle G early? There isn't, not really. I can't really think of any, Sydney. It depends on how early you're talking about. If you're talking about like a week or two before, like the soil temps are in the mid to low 70s, it'd be fine. I mean, if you said you're talking about applying it like months early, not a great idea, because remember, like pre-emergent has a certain amount of time that it is effective in the soil. For Spectacle Flow, and I imagine Spectacle G is similar, it's around 6 months, so it's a longer residual than a lot of other pre-emergents. But if you applied, say, Spectacle G in June, which you would never do that, but let's say you did it in June, and you were going to use that to try and cover you throughout the entire fall, it's probably not going to work out so well for you. But if you're applying it a week or two early, it's not going to make a big difference. You're going to be just fine. Given the choice, I would err towards applying early than applying late, because pre-emergent works best when it's in the soil prior to the weeds emerging. Hence why it's called pre-emergent, right? So hope that helps. Any other questions? Let me know. It's a good one. It's a good one on Spectacle G. Sydney, and I think you're new, Sydney. If you're not, I apologize. I don't recall ever seeing your name before. So if you're new to the live stream, welcome. I always like seeing new faces. All right, no name is, he says, this is the first year I have seen Milo still in stock at Home Depot at this time of year. The one I saw still had a couple pallets priced at $26 a bag. Probably because it's $26 a bag. It's not as good a deal, man. I'm telling you, like it used to be where Milo was in the low teens, and then towards the end of the season, you could go, they'd run deals and you could go out and you could get it for under $10 a bag. Like you could get it, you get a really good price on it. And then a couple of years ago, it went up to 16, 15, 16, 17. And that's when I was kind of like, I don't know. It's kind of getting to the point where this is not making sense. And then now at $26 a bag, it really doesn't make any sense. I mean, I shouldn't say it's not. Milo is a good product. The problem is once you start pricing it there, you're competing against premium products, and it is not as good as products in that price in that price category, if that makes sense. So you're pricing something as a premium product that is not a premium product, given what you're asking for, in my opinion. Okay, Nyson McCord is up next. It says, hey, Ron, Zoysia lawn in Central Florida. I have issues with Bermuda and doveweed. I'm planning on doing a heavy reseeding regimen in the spring, dethatching, seed, worm casting, spread on topsoil. Any tips? So you got Zoysia and you're trying to remove Bermuda. So what you might do, I mean, I don't know. When you say you're planning on doing a heavy reseeding, you're planning on reseeding the Zoysia. I don't know if that's a great strategy, Nyson. What I would do if you're trying to remove Bermuda from Zoysia is there's a selective herbicide called Fusilade 2. Look into that. Actually, I'll send you a link to it. Look into that because that's an option for selectively removing Bermuda from a Zoysia lawn. And that's going to do a better job than overseeding or reseeding or dethatching. I mean those things. Here's the thing: reducing thatch levels in the lawn, good thing. Using adding organic material to the soil, also great things to do. But that's not the strategy or the approach that I would take if you're trying to remove Bermuda from Zoysia. I would use a post-emergent herbicide like Fusilade. Like literally that's one of the best things it's designed for. It's designed for removing Bermuda out of Zoysia, and I think a few other coolses and grasses, but Fusilade 2 is what you're going to want to use. Fusilade, I think this is it. Yeah, so this is what you're going to want to roll with. So at Nyson McCord and Fusilade. Boom, boom, there you go. Yeah, look into that. Look into that, read the label for it. That is what I would do. Again, the other stuff you're doing are great cultural practices. That is what I would go with. As far as the doveweed, I don't know if Fusilade has control for doveweed. You could use Celsius for the doveweed. It's going to take more than one app. It will get rid of it, but I don't know if Fusilade is labeled for that. Let me check for you really quick here. No, I don't see doveweed on the label for Fusilade. So for that, you'd end up using, you can use Blindside, but you can also use Celsius at the higher rates. It may take more than one application. Let me go here. It may take more than one application, but this at higher rates will also control doveweed in a Zoysia lawn. So there are other options, but you got to be careful with them because they might give your grass a little ouchy, whereas Celsius will not do that. You just have to apply it at higher rates, and it may take more than one app to get control. In both cases, when you're using them, surfactant is important to getting the best results when it comes to using either Fusilade or the Celsius. So hope that helps, sir. If you need anything else, let me know. Actually, you know what? I didn't tell you where you can find Celsius and the surfactant. So I have failed you. So there you go. So now you've got that. You can find those there. Good stuff. Let's see what else we got. I'm going to skip past some of these. And Tito Serrano says, can I work on my soil when my turf goes to sleep, humic? Yeah, so if you want to apply biostimulants to the lawn or to the soil when the lawn is dormant, yeah, there's no issue with doing that. I don't generally do liquids when it's dormant. I still do my granular biostimulants. I'll do like Essential G, but I don't spray the carbon kit on a dormant lawn. I tend to do just granulars whenever the lawn is dormant. Tito, so it's your call. There are people that use humic acid on dormant grass. I'm just not one of them. Frazical says, Hey again, Ron. One day I have people asking me if my Zoysia lawn is artificial turf. One of the best compliments ever, right? Says we got our first rain in over 60 days here in Austin, Texas. Almost the next day, I see brownish areas already showing up. What to do? Why would you have brownish areas? I mean, do you have? I would say this phrasical is if you have, while Zoysia needs water, all grass needs water, right? Well, the one thing Zoysia does not like is being saturated. So if you have an area that you maybe got some rainfall and it's a low spot that doesn't drain very well, that can cause Zoysia to discolor slightly or get brown. You know what I mean? Like a good example, like I have like a planter on the porch on the patio, and I've actually tested this. Like I went out. Normally I water it once in the morning, and I wanted to see what happens if I put a lot of water on Zoysia. So I started watering it twice a day, once in the morning, one in the afternoon. And literally after like 3 days of doing that, like the grass started change, it started discoloring. You started seeing more brown tissue than like the nice vibrant green that it normally is. So you might want to check and see if the area that's turning a little bit brownish is from an area that's not draining well. Other things could be your mower, if the equipment's not sharp, that can cause discoloration in the lawn. I'm trying to think what else. Those are the main things. I mean, not enough water, not enough water. So too much heat, not enough water, too much water, and not improper mowing or improper equipment. Like your equipment's not sharp, not set up properly. All those things can lead to discoloration, like brown areas in your lawn. So you get to just figure out which one of those it is in your case. All right, so I got a super chat from Mr. Nysen. Thank you so much, Nysen. Thank you for that. I appreciate you.
Super chat received.
Yeah, hopefully that's helpful, man. Yeah, I mean, I saw everything you were saying. I was like, man, this sounds, I mean, great plan, really great plan, but I don't know how that's going to really help you get rid of Bermuda in Zoysia. So I think you'll like what Fusilade does better. So yeah. Let's see, what else do we have as far as this goes? Okay, so Mark Romano says, I've been putting clippings on my banana trees. Sounds like a plan, Mark. And again, my resource said there's more than likely it's not going to be a problem if you're trying to be ultra conservative. Like if something's been sprayed with herbicides, don't transfer it into your vegetable garden and anything you're going to eat. I mean, even the labels of some herbicides say that. Like if you are spraying like a selective herbicide, right? And they'll say, refrain from transferring clippings into non-target areas. Meaning if you're not trying to use this as a herbicide in these areas, don't even take the clippings and transfer them there. So again, if you're just trying to be, it's probably okay, but if you're just trying to be really cautious, you would refrain from taking clippings that were sprayed with herbicides or with any kind of chemicals that are not labeled as safe for food, for plants that you're going to eat. You to refrain from transferring those clippings into that if you're trying to be ultra conservative, So yeah. Next up is Boy. He says, Boy Rodriguez. He says, hello, Henry. Boy Rodriguez from Central Florida. What's going on, Boy? He says, my sister's having an issue with basket grass. She's in Orlando and it's taken over the neighborhood. She used tenacity and it didn't work. And the problems with basket grass is killing the St. Augustine. Tenacity did not work. Yeah, I don't know what, I mean, is basket grass another name for what are you calling basket grass? Yeah, I'm not familiar with that one. Rodriguez. I'm gonna have to call an audible on that one. Let me do some research and see if I can get an answer for you. I'm not sure what herbicide is effective against that. If you don't mind, send me an email. Where is it? Here, ron@golfcourselawn.com, saying, hey, this is Boy Rodriguez from the live stream. You said you were looking to basket grass treatment options for me. So it's basket grass in St. Augustine. I've not had that one before, so I'll have to do some digging. I'm not sure what you can use to get rid of it that is safe, because the big thing is there's there's probably options for it. I mean, you can use glyphosate, but that's going to be damaging to the St. Augustine, right? So finding a selective herbicide that will kill basket or will control basket grass but not damage the St. Augustine is going to be the challenge. So if you don't mind, send me an email. I'll do some digging and I'll let you know what I come across, what I find. Appreciate the question. All right. James Kelly says, have you heard anything on bio-advanced Bermuda grass control? Helps rid your lawn of Bermuda grass and crabgrass without harming your fescue, Kentucky bluegrass, and perennial ryegrass? I have not. It's not a product. I doubt it's a product they probably even sell around here because we don't have like those types of grasses. Those cool season grasses are not common to this area, so it's unlikely that any of the big box stores are going to be carrying that product. But no, I've not heard of it. I don't know what the active ingredient, what herbicide they're using to be able to pull that off. So I don't know. I'll have to do some digging. But yeah, so I can't comment on how well it works. Or I will tell you this: regardless of what they say about it controlling Bermuda grass is really difficult to kill, and if you're using a selective herbicide, it's highly unlikely to be one application and it's done. The closest or the best that I've ever found for controlling Bermuda grass is a combination that is non-selective, meaning that it will kill like any grass you spray it on. And that is to use Fusilade 2, the product I was telling Nyson about, and glyphosate. So Fusilade 2 and glyphosate, like that combination is, in my testing, has been a great like one and done against Bermuda grass. But again, that's more for renovation type work or for keeping Bermuda grass or controlling Bermuda grass in like mulch beds, but you would not spray that on your lawn. You would not spray that on any grass that you care about because it's gonna injure pretty much any grass that you spray it on because of the glyphosate that's in it. So no, I don't know. I'm not sure about that one, James. I'll have to look into it. He says if it works, I'm buying cases. Yeah, I would caution you that even if the product has some control against Bermuda grass, it's going to be a constant fight. Like Bermuda grass is very difficult to get rid of, even when you want to kill it, especially using selective herbicides. Like you look at like what's a good selective herbicide for Bermuda grass? Like you look at like Pilex or Acclaim. Like those are two selective herbicides that are labeled for controlling Bermuda. And even those, these are really high dollar products. I mean, Pilex is like north of $300 for a bottle of the stuff. And even it, if you read the label on how to control Bermuda, it's like, it's going to take this many applications. You want to make sure you time it, with these intervals. So even with a product that works well, that is designed for that I would argue is going to be a superior option to the bio advance that you're going to find like at a big box store. Even that, there are very specific instructions that require multiple rounds to control Bermuda. So I would just, have reasonable expectations that of a product that says, hey, you're going to spray this and your lawn is going to look awesome and the Bermuda grass is going to be gone. It's probably not going to happen that way. Probably not. Okay, next up is 9. I think this is going to be our last question of the evening. He says, thank you. I have Fusilade and surfactant, but I do not have a clear answer for the doveweed. I will certainly add Celsius to my application. Sounds good, nice, and awesome. Good stuff, man. Glad it was helpful. Well, guys, gals, I think we are at the end. I think we've reached pretty much all of our questions for this evening. So you know what that means. We will cue the outro music. So everyone, again, there is a actually, nope, I missed one. Let me see if I can get it here. I can answer it while I'm talking. There's one last question from Donnie Chapman. I don't want to miss you, Donnie. He says, I'm in the Florida Panhandle. Any recommendations on how to convert my centipede lawn to a Bermuda lawn? Yeah, so if you've got Bermuda and the centipede together and you're trying to selectively remove the centipede from the Bermuda, use quinclorac. Quinclorac is tolerated by Bermuda, but it is not tolerated well by centipede, so it'll kill the centipede, but the Bermuda will be just fine. So quinclorac is what you're going to want to look into. Outside of that, if you can just do a full renovation, like kill off whatever existing grass you have, and then bring in Bermuda sod, and then you'll be good to go. Then you'll use quinclorac for controlling any centipede that happens to jump through. And to help you out with that, I am going to send you a link to quinclorac right here. Hope that helps. All right, guys, gals, get out, have some fun in your lawn this weekend, watch some football, watch Formula One, and I will see you guys next next week. Be sure to share the content, share the new blogs. It really does help out a lot. I'll see you guys next weekend. Take care.